Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have arrived at the Divine League Losers Bracket Finals. We have Soulbound Mirage versus Honeyfruit Gaming, and it is going to be a best of 5 to thrive on. I am joined on the desk by Gofrino tonight, my constant co-host. We've got Mowgli in the back pressing all the buttons, and we are ready for some action today. How are you feeling today?
Pretty hyped up. I mean, these two teams, they have met before earlier in the bracket here, Lemons, and last time they met, Soulbound Mirage did have Honeyfruit's name in that best of 3 series, although it did go to the final there, so curious to see how it works out this time around. However, though, we have been flying through these bans. The Mordekaiser gang playing Caitlyn and Bard, a couple of OP picks being taken off the table, and a couple of targeted bans being taken off the table.
The teams have been sitting there watching the pro games like, man, I'm tired of not seeing any action. We got to get into our games. We got to get the action flowing. So they want to get through this picks and bans real quick. They don't even care what they choose. That is not true. So yeah, Mordekaiser, Caitlyn set taking off for Soulbound on the blue side, and then Honeyfruit on the red side take away that Gangplank Bard. The Ashe, the first pick, Gragas. It's becoming so much more prevalent here recently, and it is so strong right now.
Yeah, because, I mean, whenever Gragas is remotely meta in the jungle, like, he will just be picked so often. He can bring so much to a team. He brings a lot of flexibility in build paths, and he just does so much for you with his potent engage, disengage, all of that. Like, he brings too much to really just, push him to the side. Either way, though, we're going to see another big meta pick, though, in that Volibear being picked up here for Honeyfruit Gaming. Because Volibear, he's that potent top lane and jungle pick we have been seeing ever since his rework.
Yeah, I got a little flex here, a little flex action for Honeyfruit starting off in game number 1. Getting the Akali in there as well, being able to flex that to mid or top. We have been seeing a lot of it here recently as well. So I think we're leaning heavily into the new meta here in this series so far. Now Yasuo is the lock-in. So we get the classic Gragas Yasuo combo. What are they going to pair with it? They go with the Senna. So we could be seeing the Yasuo mid lane pairing up with that Gragas in the jungle, and then see maybe a bit of a farming lane towards the bot side for Soulbound.
Yeah, and I mean, even for Soulbound, there is a little bit of potential for mix-ups here in the draft. Like, if you want to, you could run that fasting Senna with the Yasuo bot lane. I've seen it before. Like, it isn't... Usually the Yasuo is more aggro support. However, though, that Senna being able to catch him up with all those heals is kind of nice. However, the Varus being locked in here for Honeyfruit Gaming, that's definitely an interesting one, because Varus, he's kind of fallen off the radar after his nerfs earlier this season to the lethality build. Though we have been seeing the on-hit build more so ever since those nerfs when we do see the Varus. So I'm leaning towards this being an on-hit Varus, but there is always that potential for the lethality.
There definitely is. I think that provides your team a little bit more flexibility as well. But we are getting into the second phase of bans and seeing already a high priority pick taken off the board. It is the Syndra. So not going to have that much of a press R button champion coming through the mid lane. We might still have a couple, Thresh going to be the ban away for Soulbound, though. and the response is the Shen for Honeyfruit. So bans a little bit sporadic, a little bit all over the place, no real hard focus, but it is champions that we see, it is champions that these guys play and have had success on. So I like to see the research coming out for both of these teams, especially going into best of five. It's so important. Taric is the last ban, and Taric has been sneaking up. I want to say he's like the little sneaky snake of the meta. He's been quietly getting a little bit stronger back there, but I am all about this pick here for Honeyfruit. They take the Blitzcrank Gopherino.
And that Blitzcrank, it is so deadly against that Senna, because, I mean, Senna, she does have those long wind-up auto attacks every time she does auto, and hey, if you're standing still as an AD carry against that Blitzcrank, things get a little bit tricky for you. However, though, there is still the potential for this to be a support Senna, and maybe a different AD carry / carry in the bot lane, or we'll just see a support locked in here for that blue 5 pick, and that can help counter this Blitzcrank, especially if it's something like that Morgana, if you're great with those black shields, because then you get a 2-for-1 deal on blocking that hook and the Chain of Corruption there.
Well, and I really like the pickup of the Renekton by Soulbound. I think it's a strong pickup. It's something good to build off of in the top lane, but pair that, man, oh my goodness, their composition is so dirty. And yes, it is all built around Yasuo, but the thing is, you still have Renekton, who has potential to carry, who has potential to be that super bruiser, but you have an Alistar paired up with the Gragas into a Yasuo. That is going to be so scary. So it's on, honestly, Honeyfruit to play around this very strategically placed composition for Mirage. They do lock in that Poppy, so they have themselves a decent composition themselves.
Because this Poppy, if played correctly and very good on those timings with that W of hers, you can stuff a lot of the potential engaged. You can stop the body slam, you can stop the little dash from Yasuo, you can stop the slice and dice, you can stop the headbutt pulverize combo from that Alistar, and if you shut down those engaged tools, then that is absolutely huge here, because a lot of those are going to be used to set up the Yasuo ultimate there. As I mean, anybody taking a quick peek at the Soulbound Mirage composition here is like, all right, I see a little bit of Wamba combo going on for this Yasuo. I mean, it quite very literally is.
I just think that you're putting all your eggs into a particular basket for Soulbound, whereas Honeyfruit, they do have a little bit more breadth in the things that they can play through. And there are some different avenues that you can go down. And as we all know, the Drakes are just so important nowadays. And I think getting Soulbound's composition into a pit is not exactly where you want to be because those 5v5s are not going to be fun. And I'm looking at the squishier members of Honeyfruit in particular. But it's just about how you play around those objectives, how you're playing in the macro sense, so that you can take some objectives and you can still get something without having to take those big fights.
Because Honeyfruit Gaming, you do have the Blitzcrank here. Like, that is just always such a great tool for getting picks here. You can pick off almost any member on the enemy team and do fine for the most part. I mean, hooking in an Alistar who has that unbreakable, all right. Hooking in a Renekton who can pop the down is all right. But if you hook the Senna, if you hook the Yasuo, if you hook the Gragas, assuming that this is going to be more of a AP damage oriented Gragas, then you can blow them up fairly easily, and that can just, of course, make that 5 versus 5 team fight a lot more easy when it is a 5 versus 4 and you've taken off one of the key members for their little Wamba combo.
It's, man, I'm so excited for what I get to yell at today, Gopherino. At least for game one. I mean, maybe this sets us up for Yasuo being priority in the draft all the way through, because we do have a best of 5 here before us, and whoever wins this best of 5 here today does go on to play Oasis Esports in the finals, and that is going to be one nobody's going to want to miss. But both these teams need to prove today that they have what it takes to get to that mountaintop, to face the final challenger. And I'm really excited for what we have set out in front of us already for this game number 1, and how it's going to develop just gets me even more excited.
Yeah, because I mean, with all these finals that have been happening recently, there's been a lot of best of 5 series I've cast, and there's one thing that I've always mentioned with every best of 5 series I've cast these past few weeks. And that is that game number 1 can be just so important for helping you set the tone of a series, because getting a leg up on your opponent in this longer series, that always helps, just having that extra win under your belt. But of course, it can get into your opponent's head, and with how long these series can go, it can matter quite a bit what happens early on.
It definitely can. Now, I did want to let everybody know we do have a player going to the restroom real quick, but we're going to be getting everything set up for you guys and get through the Spectre delay here, and then we'll be right back with the action with game number 1 of the losers finals here. We've got Soulbound Mirage versus Honeyfruit Gaming. Don't go anywhere.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear, like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun, running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have made it onto the Rift for game number 1 of this Divine League Losers Bracket Finals. We've got Soulbound Mirage versus Honeyfruit Gaming. And it looks like we might have a little bit of spiciness coming onto the Rift here already for us. Go, Farino.
Well, it is a level 1 Blitzcrank. You can pull off a lot of shenanigans here. I can't think of a single champion in the game that can tank 5 members after you get hooked in. This is going to be spotted out, though. That hook was used. Keep in mind, take a look at Orbit's mana bar here. That hook, it does cost quite a bit of mana. 100 mana at rank 1, I believe. So that could have some mild repercussions for lane if he doesn't back here on the Blitzcrank. There is a lot of time before that happens. And of course, it's not like Blitzcrank is the type of champion to really spam his spells in that laning phase, but it could be something, you know. Either way, though, everybody just getting set up on the Rift here, and it looks like we're going to have a bit of a mirrored startup from both these junglers here. They're both going to be starting off on their red buff. And all right, now that's a
teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. Got this.
I like that little cheeky denial there.
But yeah, we're going to get an opposite start for the junglers here. See where their paths are going to take us, because I do feel like they're going to have a big impact into the early game of this entire series, really. But Best Turtle and Ching Bear really going to be a linchpin on how these teams want to play, and especially because we do know that Soulbound love that Yasuo in the mid lane for Steel City Warrior. So you gotta go for for some focus on that jungle mid synergy there for Soulbound. But we'll have to see how it plays out for them. And if it doesn't go well, I foresee them going completely away from it. I don't know, maybe circle back to it later in the series, but I don't think we'll see if they do really badly with it. I don't think we'll see it back to back.
Yeah, because I mean, Yasuo, there's the meme of 0-10 power spike there, but there's also the meme of enemy team Yasuo where he goes 10-0, and it's like it just kind of speaks to Yasuo as a champion. He is very high risk, high reward, and when you do hit that risk, well, you kind of really do fall flat on your face, Lemons. Like, I believe you could ask anyone who plays League a decent amount, like, do you have any bad memories regarding Yasuo's on your team who inted their butts off, and then they'd be like, oh, yes, I can name a couple of stories, and I'm curious to see how we get it.
No, go
mid lane, though.
Yeah, they did try mid lane. It wasn't going to end up in anything. One last little tornado to give them a little push. But yeah, I completely agree. There's so many bad memories.
Ching Bear in the bot lane.
Speaking of bad memories, somebody's about to have one down here. The knockback, though, on the Ching Bear is going to get him under the tower, and Havoc's going to flash away. So a lot of damage done on the Ching Bear, but nobody is going to go down. We're going to see it hustle in the mid lane yet again, which is going to be pretty thematic here for this game number 1 with the matchup that we do have in the mid lane.
Yeah, and this matchup in the mid lane, it does interest me, because one thing I did remark on when we loaded in, I'm like, wait, the killer guy went Fleet of Footwork in this? Because usually Fleet of Footwork, Akali, you take that more so into ranged matchups or any matchup that will heavily harass you early on. But instead taking it into the Yasuo here, who, I mean, he can definitely give you a little bit of trouble early on if he's able to play it well in the lane. It's just, I kind of wonder if the killer guy would have been better off going for maybe the Conqueror in this lane or another Akali rune. I know some do go for that Electrocute, so yeah. I'm kind of curious. However, though, I mean, it can't hurt to have that extra sustain during the laning phase on Akali, who does want to scale up a little to get that Gunblade.
Especially against the Yasuo, I feel like it can help you because he's going to be going for those trades as well. So you can get a little bit of health back for it. But not to see, also, just want to highlight, we do have a TP advantage here for Honeyfruit as well. They do have that extra TP on that the killer guy in mid lane. Meanwhile, Havoc going to not land the Hex Flash gank. The Root coming down, though. He might still get the knockups. Noxio doesn't have this much damage early on, but the burn is still there from the Ignite as well. And they have to back off. That's going to be a nice little arrow. It's not going to hit, and that feels a little bit bad because that's a lot of poke damage you could have put back down onto them. Now they just get out with a little bit more regen here, and you see they have pretty strong presence on this wave.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about this AD carry Senna into the lethality Varus matchup. Sure, those piercing arrows, they will still definitely hurt you, even after the nerfs. However, though, with Senna, you have that piercing darkness, so you're just able to use that, you know, maybe once a wave, be able to just help you and your support get back up. And of course, Havoc, he does have that passive, the Triumphant Roar, that does give you that little bit of sustain in the lane too, so having all that extra healing is going to help you weather out the storm, so to speak, against this Varus, who isn't really super burst orientated. He really wants to wear you down with those piercing arrows and then try and fish for a kill with that ultimate of his. Or though Havoc, I don't know about this one, buddy.
He had it all planned out the whole time. Go for it, you know. He was ready. He saw the minions. He was like, I'm gonna use my escape, and he definitely did. No, good stuff. Stopping the back there on the bot side is gonna give them a very awkward setup. And we see on the map we have an Infernal Dragon as our first dragon of the game, of the series, in fact. And it will give a little bit of a boost early on. Not going to be all that important. We don't get the Infernal Soul this time around, but you got to bet that these junglers are going to be looking, as we already see, Best Turtle is the first to respond to that.
And let's see how it does pan out here, because Bear, he is in the area if he does want to contest. His bot lane should be down here in time to help him do so. Although this dragon already down to 1k health, both these members already on it. The smite should be coming out here from Best Turtle. Yes, it does come out, so that is a nice little pickup here, and it kind of all started earlier in the bot lane with that actually really cheeky recall cancel by the Havoc there, being able to help them just control the lane a little bit longer, be able to delay that recall a little bit longer, because imagine a world where Yoo-Hoo and Orbit were able to get that recall off when they did. They would have been back well in time to help Bear contest that dragon. Of course, it isn't the end of the world. It is a small advantage for scaling as the game does go on, but it isn't going to make or break the game. Oh, that hook's so close there. It
really was. That's a little bit of a flash before your eyes moment right there. But he doesn't. He emotes back. He says everything's A-okay on my side. But it's going to be very interesting how we see the rest of this early game play out, because the junglers, they are salivating right now, Gofrino. They want to get into the action. You see Best Turtle trying to set up ganks. Hasn't had the most impact so far. We see Chingbear always positioning for ganks, but hasn't been able to pull anything off either. And they're just chomping at the bit, waiting for the positioning, waiting for the right moment to pull something off.
And that's what kind of surprises me, because we have seen some posturing from these jungler lemons. Like, they haven't really fully committed to any ganks that I can recall or have seen. But we might see something coming on this bot lane, because Steel City Warrior, he is now level 6 on that Yasuo. This control ward getting cleared out, and Best Turtle, he is level 6 on this Gragas, so it would be a very easy setup. However, though, just taking a little bit too long for comfort, so Steel City Warrior walk back to that mid lane.
Look at the vision there for Honeyfruit. They've got the entire bot side river visioned up, ready for anything that can happen. So it means that it does take a little longer. You saw the setup there, as you were mentioning, as you were highlighting, for Steel City Warrior, but you don't want to leave the killer guy in mid lane doing whatever he wants. And he saw the positioning, he saw how it was kind of unfolding, and decided to pull it back. Meanwhile, Havoc got a bit of an engage there.
Here comes Bear.
Gonna get rooted up. They might have overstepped here. Chingbear not gonna pull the trigger just yet. I feel like he had the angle there. If he would have just full committed the momentum that they had, Nox Joe had stepped up just a little bit too far. But it's that we're waiting for somebody to pull that trigger with the itchy trigger finger here in the game, because nobody has really been wanting to come in. I completely understand that, because you are at the final moment, the last bat here to get into the finals, and both these teams have a lot on the line, a lot of just blood, sweat, and tears working through this season and these playoffs, which have been long. And you don't want to be the one to make that mistake. You don't want to be the one to give over the lead. And I completely feel that.
Yeah, because this is losers finals here, so whoever does end up losing this series, they're out. But here comes Turtle into the top lane.
Get a gank! It all happened! Oh, nice combo. Starting it off right here for Scuzz Rat going down. And all those mastery points on that Poppy belt are not going to save your life when you have that many members showing up in your lane. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Orvis trying to make a name for himself here. Did get the hook on the Havoc. Havoc getting a little bit low, but Yoo-Hoo still getting lower. He misses the Chains of Corruption. The Dawning Shadow comes down over top. And Yoo-Hoo is so low here, but they have position. They have 4 members here. Remember, those arrows are still going to do a lot of damage. Stormbringer coming down. The tower is not going to help out for very long, but it's going to come back pretty quickly. TP's coming down. Chingbear goes down first. Killer Guy misses the execution on that one, but Yoo-Hoo is able to snipe up a kill before he goes down. The tower is still doing work here. Nox Joe is doing as much as he can, but he can't get the kills. So low on the health bars are Honeyfruit Gaming, but they get away with kills and some tower plays.
I mean, I wouldn't call that getting away with there, Lemons. Like, it was a 4 versus 2, and you lose 2 under that tower even after disabling. Like, I don't mean to flame here, but what the hell was going on there? Like, I feel like there was just a little bit of mis-execution there. Sure, you're able to get some plates off the back of it, but you have to remember in the top lane, you did give up that first blood to that Renekton, who can use that to snowball. You did also lose that Rift Herald, which transitioned into taking that top lane turret since Scuzzrat teleported to that bot lane, so...
And now first tower as well.
Yeah, and that's going to help propel this Renekton ahead a lot. Because if we take a look at the gold here, 2,100 gold separating these 2 top laners, like, that is getting dangerously close to full item territory in some cases here. Like,
yeah,
maybe 1,000 gold more, but if you're that close already, that's already nasty, because we see Scuzzrat, oh, never mind, Orbit.
Nox Joe getting caught here. He's going to get dragged down, and he goes down. Yoo-Hoo able to get the kill on that one. Mid lane, seeing some posturing from both teams, but guess who has come out on the numbers edge this time around? Steel City has to flash out, but the Casket's going to get the last breath. What a beautiful combo pulled off by Soulbound, and they're going to clean up the other kill as well. Chingbear finally going down, and Renekton is the one to pick that one up. So spreading the love, spreading the gold, and it is all in favor of Soulbound so far.
And Soulbound, Mirage, they've got to be feeling really good here because they're able to pick up those 2 kills right before this dragon starts up. Orbit, he can try for something cheeky here, but we can already see that vision in the river there. Sure, you have that 1 ward by the dragon, you can see it being taken, but it doesn't really mean a lot if you're not able to do anything about it. So that is a very huge pickup here because you get that extra bit of resist. You get yourself closer to that soul point there, which is so crucial. And since it is an Ocean Soul this game, and Ocean Soul is widely considered to be the strongest soul in the game by most people, having that extra leg up, it doesn't hurt, Lemons.
Oh, it really doesn't, and especially with this composition that they have, it's just going to be so unbelievably strong, which puts the onus on Honeyfruit here. They need to start getting some objective control, and I know when we laid it out in the picks and bans, that's not really what we're looking for, but you're down 2 dragons already this early on, and you got to start doing something, either getting picks before and setting up for getting priority around the dragon pit, or doing something along those lines, or maybe just sack the dragon and go for something else. But there just has to be some sort of play command because you can't just bleed these objectives out. And yes, they have started to kind of tussle around the objectives when they're coming up, especially that last one, but it hasn't really added up to very much. And Best Turtle gonna nicely get out of that one.
Yeah, I have to agree with that because when I look at the Honeyfruit Gaming comp here, it's like they don't exactly have the best team fighting composition here. Like, you have a Lethality Varus who's great at, like, poking and, like, engaging a team fight. Oh, that's a great hook.
That's a lot of damage. Orbit does... Blitzcrank just, at this moment, does a lot of damage. He mistimes the ulti out of it. Last breath goes through onto Orbit. He's trying to get on the backline. He's on Yoo-Hoo right now. He can't get the last hit. Now they're getting the knockups, the CC onto the Yasuo. Yoo-Hoo finally went down over there on the back side of the fight, and Steel City Warrior went real deep into that one. Best Turtle is the one that falls, so it's 1-for-1 here.
And that was a very bloody 1-for-1 too, because we saw so many ultimates and key cooldowns being blown there. Like, I'm trying to look around. I see, what, 3 ultimates available out of the 10 we have on the map? That is quite a bit, considering basically all of them were blown in that fight. However, though, That 1-for-1, it will kind of help out Honeyfruit Gaming here, since you look at the other side, Soulbound Mirage, they weren't able to really get anything off the back of it. They weren't able to get any damage on towers, although
he does a lot of damage though, Bagley. That one little turnaround, it was enough to make Steel City Warrior second guess himself.
That is the thing with Poppy, like, she's similar to Ornn in that she can have a surprising amount of damage for building full tank. Although, whereas Ornn is a little bit more consistent, Poppy is a little bit more bursty, thanks to that heroic charge, thanks to that Keeper's Verdict, or not Keeper's Verdict, the Hammer Smash, or Q. Oh, it's Hammer Shock. Okay, I was close. Either way, though, I mean, she can pump out a lot of damage. It's just a little bit more burst focus, and that's what can take 80 carries off guard here, and especially for Nox Joe, who isn't exactly itemizing super defensive yet. Like, he doesn't have any extra armor to his name except for runes. He doesn't have any defensive itemization yet. It can suck a little.
It definitely can, and the gold lead is not helping with the situation at hand for Honeyfruit here, where we are about a 5k gold lead at 16 minutes into the game for Soulbound, and they've been using it pretty well so far. They've gotten a lot around the map, but now we're seeing Press E-Boy getting aggressed on the top side. Yoo-Hoo gonna get knocked over the wall. Oh, the grab perfectly timed. What is this? Can we just get the carnival music going yet? We have everything going off. Yoo-Hoo's still alive in the background. Scuzzrat has joined the fight. Press E-Boy now here as well with the late TP. The last breath comes out on Scuzzrat, but he's a tanky target. The wind wall was nicely used by Steel City Warrior, getting Orbit's hook not to land. But now they need to be careful. Chingbear has the angle. He gets onto the wall. That's going to be the stun. But on the back line, Yoo-Hoo gets taken down by the Cowman himself. The knockback here has left their team all by themselves. Nox Joe going to pick up one. This is scaling. This is damage coming through here from Nox Joe. And it is actually going to be Honeyfruit Gaming trying to turn it around with Scuzzrat, but he can't do it. The rest of his teammates have left him hanging. And it is all Soulbound's game here early on in game number 1.
And that's the thing here with Honeyfruit Gaming's composition. Like, they just kind of don't really do damage. Sure, you got the Varus poke, but
they tried.
DPS. Sure, you got a Kali who can be like at least semi-consistent DPS, but she is extremely hard to pull that sort of stuff off. So we saw as that fight went on and on and on that it just went gradually more and more in the favor of Soulbound Mirage, and that's not going to be the best thing once we're coming up to these later stage team fights, because now with this Ocean Dragon being up, all these members being around here, this could be very dangerous. And Honeyfruit Gaming, they're kind of stuck in a position of, well, we have to contest this dragon, or we give it up and then we just feel even worse. So I'm curious to see what the call is here, because Bear, he's in the top lane soloing out the Rift Herald. I'm thinking it's a little bit of the latter here.
Yeah, I think they're just going to give it up for Soul Point and have to contest over the next one, which puts your team at a very awkward position. I mean, he is taking the Rift Herald here, so it's not going to lead to that, but now you're going to leave the Baron up so that they can choose to let you have the Dragon and take the Baron themselves, or just play around it completely. It just puts yourself at such a disadvantage. It's really hard, and if Chingbear gets caught out here, this might just be it. My God, that damage just from the one shot on a Chingbear. He is not the tanky bear you're looking for. Best Turtle going over the wall. Gonna get the belly knock up onto it. Last breath coming out just to ensure that the kill goes over. But it is Oppressed E-Boy who picks that one up. And they are just having their way with the enemy jungle.
And this is just such a terrible situation to be in if you're Honeyfruit Gaming, because you're on the back foot with a composition that can't really deal with being on the back foot.
That's might have overextended here. He took a lot of turret shots for no reason. Havoc can almost take Yoo-Hoo at this point. I'm just gonna say it right now. He does so much damage with that ignite when it's up that he just, oh my goodness. He's been oppressing Yoo-Hoo in this game. Every time he sees him in the fights on the screen, he's immediately going onto him and using that super slick Alistair combo. And it just feels so bad for Varus because you have no movement speed. You're not a mobile champion. You're one of those champions that needs to sit there and either, if you're playing lethality, poke, or be sitting there auto-attacking left and right. And it just can't happen at this point for their carry. And it's just one of the stronger points here for Honeyfruit Gaming. Makes it that much harder.
Oh, that's a good little hook into the chain.
Every ulti except for that's actually a huge shutdown for Chingbear, who will be able to put that to good use. We have had a disconnect but a reconnect for Steel City Warrior. Stormbringer going to be used to buy a little bit more time, but Nox Joe picks up the kill onto the Bear Man himself. And Baron spawning here. Do they want to look to force a fight over it? And they could do just that. You do still have Poppy towards that bot side, pushing away down there. You don't have a TP available to respond to it, so it looks like they're just going to force this.
And they definitely can. There's no enemy jungler. However, though, okay, now Steel City Warrior comes. I was about to criticize, like, their Baron take
they don't have damage.
Slow if they don't have Steel City Warrior around. I mean, yeah. Technically, Nox Joe, he does damage. It just comes out so slowly. Oh, look at the Hex Flash.
Oh, nice combo. That is the last breath into Yoo-Hoo, but he's not going to go down. Steel City Warrior going to find himself in a bit of a predicament here over the wall. That's going to be a blocked arrow by the shield for Steel City Warrior. They pull off the Baron. Scuzzrat might be caught here. He is going to use the field. He's going to get the knockback, but it's only on to Havoc, and Steel City Warrior is on a rampage.
And nearly all of the Honeyfruit Gaming members were able to get out there. Sadly, that's not the case here, as okay, they do stop the Baron and give up one for it, but that's still a negative trade. It means they're going to lose this tower here, and honestly, I feel like at this point, Honeyfruit Gaming, they just kind of need to be looking towards the next game here, because they're already this far to, never mind that.
Yeah, they don't care. There's a tower there, but it doesn't matter. Steel City Warriors going unstoppable. The members are just being eviscerated here in this game. Soulbound has taken the momentum. They have taken the lead, and right now they're looking to go up game number 1 in this best of 5.
They are looking mighty fine to be going up into game number 1. I mean, what can be done to stop them, really? You have to land a super lucky hook here, but that's just going to get harder and harder, because we're at the point where this Renekton, he's starting to get tanky enough where he can tank the hook. The Zoni is just finished on Best Turtle, so if he's quick on the grab, that's great too. Steel City Warrior, it's a matter of whether or not that wind wall comes down, and then, of course, with Nox Joe, he has that Edge of Night finished, and Blitzcrank kind of hates spell shields.
He definitely does. The wind wall helping out really a lot by Steel City Warrior as well. He's been positioning them super, super well at crucial times, and it's just they right now there's a little bit of a calm to the storm, but they just haven't stopped. They've been aggressing this entire time. They've been looking for picks. They're not just sitting on their hands. They're looking for these objectives. They're trying to push the pace of this game. Now you have Dragon Soul Point. The 4th dragon spawning in 30 seconds here. You've got to make a fight. You've got to do something for Honeyfruit Gaming if you want to get back into this game. Otherwise, it might just be GG go next, like you said.
Well, there is certainly a time you can try that for all the marbles with this up-and-coming dragon.
Might be caught here.
Yeah, they're already getting pushed out of their own jungle, which is such a terrible way to start with a fight. Like, look how splintered they are. Yoo-Hoo!
Yoo-Hoo's done. Yeah, they're just completely caught out. Yoo-Hoo going to try his best to survive as long as he can. The knockback not going to be enough for Scuzzrat. Here comes the Stormbringer into the backline here. The knockback, though, last breath doesn't come out, but he's going to get very low. He finally goes down, shut down onto Poppy, but Nox Joe is still there. He's in the background, and you have to deal with that crocodile man himself. And they are just tearing up the front and back line of Honeyfruit Gaming. Scuzzrat going to be the next to fall. The Nexus is looking like the target here. They have some super minion, or one super minion, and some other regular minions, and they're going to go ahead and finish off this game number 1. It was a valiant attempt from Honeyfruit Gaming with the composition that had some wonky pieces, but had some very strong possibilities. They just did not have the execution on the day, and it is going to be Soulbound Mirage going up game 1.
Whew, and I mean, we saw the power of that Steel City Warrior Yasuo last week, and here we see it yet again. And this week, Lemons, because you can't deny the power of it, and especially when you combine it with that Gragas, with that Alistar, we just saw so many times. It was just easy peasy, your name Lemon Squeezy setup there, and once you get the ball rolling, there's nothing you can really do against it. Sure, you had some members beefing up, building the armor, but you didn't have the damage, and they would take out the members that could even do some damage.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it was Yoo-Hoo who had to be the carry for the team, and in that last fight, I'm just going to chalk it up to the previous moments of the game having a huge effect on that. They just get completely split. Literally all Soulbound did was walk into the jungle and the members of Honeyfruit just dispersed, and then that's how you win the game. I mean, everybody's making mistakes at that point. Nobody knows where each other is really at, and you just pick them apart. And unfortunately for you, who being the saving grace for his team in that game, number one, it was super unfortunate that they did have such heavy engage. They did have so many routes available to them that they got to him every single time they could. And it just meant that one of the biggest pieces for Honeyfruit Gaming was not able to play the game.
Yeah, because we saw him even itemize the Edge of Night there, but you have to remember is that the thing with the Alistar Headbutt Pulverize combo is that it's 2 abilities and you can only spell shield one of them. So you're probably spell shielding the Headbutt, but then you get pulverized anyway because you're still in the same place, and that really doesn't matter in the end whether or not you had a spell shield. After all, you just block a little bit of damage. But hey, I'm curious to see how Honeyfruit Gaming decide to adapt in this game number 2, because I really did love the Poppy pick there for that last pick. However, though, I just feel like the rest of their pieces weren't able to really deal with Soulbound Mirage, and they just kind of lacked the damage.
Yeah, and we set it up at the very beginning where there was 2. Always Nox Joe on the Senna is going to have some carry potential. He's going to get stronger. There's always a count. You don't even have to think about that. But the 2 main pieces we were looking at to blow open the game were Steel City Warrior on the Yasuo in mid lane and Oppressed D-Boy on the Renekton in top lane. Look at their scores: 4-1-7, 5-1-7. They did just fine. They did their jobs perfectly. Nox Joe came in 6-2-10 on the Senna as well. They just had a stellar performance across the board for game number 1, and they're looking to continue that momentum into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to send it to a little break while we get ready for it. Do not touch that browser.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Welcome back. We have made it for game number 2, and we are already getting into the picks and bans here. We see Gangplank take it away for Honeyfruit Gaming on the blue side this time around for game number 2, and Soulbound on the red side. They take away that Caitlyn for them, and the hover here for Honeyfruit is going to be the Bard.
And let's see what else happens here, because so far we've seen more or less the same bans. A lot of power picks being taken off the board. That Caitlyn, that Bard. But the Gangplank and Mordekaiser slightly more targeted. I believe both top laners decently well versed on them. I'm curious though to see if any changes come out. Specifically, are we going to see Yasuo ban here from Honeyfruit Gaming in this first phase? Because I feel like you got to ban it, Lemons, because when it gets through Soulbound, they know how to draft around it so well.
They do, and if you don't, okay, I'm a little curious here. So my question is, do they not ban away and take the Gragas first pick here? Is my biggest question. Okay, yeah. So Soulbound see what could be potentially happening, and they do not want that, and so they ban away that Gragas, which has been super, super strong recently. Ashe going to be locked in first for Honeyfruit. That is a bit of a questionable pick for me, but it is a very strong champion, has a lot of utility and a lot of damage later into the game, so it does have that little bit of a double threat for them. Soulbound locking in that Akali. They're going to take it away from Honeyfruit, who did play it in game number 1. And it didn't quite work out for them. So Soulbound looking to get a little BM there and say, you didn't know how to play it. I'm going to go ahead and take this one.
And the Akali blind pick is super interesting, although, okay, I was about to say, Heimerdinger blind pick would have been even more interesting. But the thing with Akali blind pick is that, like, it is very hard. Like, Akali is typically a very situational laner. You pick her more
sure.
so into very specific team comps that want to dip and dive, very specific lane counter matchups. I can't remember them off the top of my head. However, though, it is going to be paired with that Ezreal, thank God, because if they did lock in the other picks they were hovering, which were primarily mid lane focused, well, Akali mid laner just basically just tells you that it's going to be the top lane Akali, and that takes away a lot of the potency, so to speak, of an early pick Akali. So Ezreal, one of the number 1 AD carries in the meta right now, alongside Ashe and Caitlyn. The response is going to be that Karma, who is a very strong flex pick in of herself. I believe she was taken down a notch this patch, however, and that is probably going to come into play this game because she was hit on the mantra, or not the mantra Q, the just normal Q, if I'm not mistaken. I can't exactly remember it off the top of my head, but combine that with the Olaf. I always love Karma Olaf because Olaf, he has to run at you. You know what helps him run at you even better? Making him faster. You know what Karma does? Make you faster.
I am very interested in this pick, and I want to see who's going to be piloting the Karma at this point. If it does go bottom, I think I feel a little bit more comfortable. If it goes mid, I'm very worried for Honeyfruit. I'm at a point where I want to see a pop off for mid lane. We've already seen Steel City Warrior be able to show up and show what he's got in game number 1, and you've got to match that. You can't just let him control the lane. And I guess we'll see how the rest of the draft plans out and how Honeyfruit want to approach the rest of their strategy, but we'll have to keep that in mind, as Nidalee was the lock-in for Soulbound, going with a little bit more of a skirmishy jungle. A little bit falls off a little bit later, but those spears are so deadly, and if you get rolling early, you can snowball the game completely. We are getting into the second bans, though. Blitzcrank comes off from the blue side for Honeyfruit, and Kassadin from Soulbound.
And these are some target bans being leveraged by the side of Soulbound Mirage here, because that Kassadin is one of the favorites here for the killer guy. And of course, Vladimir is a pick that we have seen Scuzzrat play before. However, on the opposite side, Honeyfruit Gaming targeting that Blitzcrank and Yuumi, which is definitely interesting. Of course, Ashe hates Blitzcrank because she isn't a mobile AD carry, and mobile AD carries tend to keep getting hooked. However, though, the response looks like it might be that Sona, and Sona Ezreal can be really nasty lane for poking. However, though, you have to remember, okay, queued up all those points, we do have the Pantheon instead, and most likely going to be top lane Pantheon, but there is some flex potential still between the Akali and Pantheon as to where they want to go.
There definitely is, and I think that's a big strength going into this game in particular for Soulbound, where they have a lot of those, where I think this is kind of what Honeyfruit were going for in game number 1, with a little
and like, they have a lot of pick potential here. You have the Enchanted Crystallero, Ahri does have the Charm, and then you still have a lot of mobility options thanks to that Karma being able to speed up your entire team. I'm assuming this is going to be Glacial Augment Ahri, since that tends to be the most popular one, but there is still always the potential for an Electrocute full Assassin Ahri. Honeyfruit Gaming, they do have a fairly flexible composition in how they want to tackle team fights here, because they can go forward, they can go backward, more or less to their likings.
Indeed. I apologize, my internet seems to be going in and out.
Okay, I thought your mic went boom.
No. It's just my internet just keeps going out for like split seconds. It's really weird. But yeah, I don't know if my points came across. But I think this is kind of what Honeyfruit were trying to go for in game number 1. That didn't really work out for them. Now the last.
And it is going to be that Shinzo, like you said, for that last lock-in. And so that confirms that this is going to be a support Pantheon instead, which I can see some merit to, because Ashe Karma, very easy to jump on them, and when you do lock one of them down, they can be burst. However, though, you have to remember you are with that Ezreal, who does take a little bit of time after that first back to really start doing damage again, because first back is either typically the Tear of Goddess, which is no damage, but it lets you stack that up quicker and come online quicker, the Sheen, which means you can do a lot of damage when you do fire out those Mystic shots. It does give you that CDR, or the Pickaxe, which is that flat raw AD option, which can be the best potential purchase here with this Pantheon if you're aiming for these all-ins. However, though, typically you do see that Pantheon more so with aggro laners like the Kalista, like the Draven, who like to be forcing those fights early.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I'm just so curious as to how this is kind of all going to unfold. But I really like the matchups we have here and how this early game is going to play out. I still think you have a lot of agency in the jungle. You're going to have a lot of skirmishing going on more than likely, but you're still going to have a lot of power points coming from the lanes. And there is a lot of volatility in the lanes themselves. And if something just gives way in one of those lanes, the snowball can start for either of these teams.
And snowballing is just always so deadly in almost any of these games, really, but especially when you're looking at this game here, Lemons, because Ahri, she can snowball fairly decently well, because even if you are going for that Glacial Augment build, if you do get ahead, well, you're still one-shotting carries, but you look at the opposite side, I mean, you have Pantheon, who is literally the one of the epitomes of snowballing. You do have that Nidalee and that Akali, who both absolutely love to snowball themselves, and Shinzo, no slacker either when he snowballs. I'm curious, though, to see how this pans out, because, I mean, this might just be a Shinzo top lane we're looking at here, and I can't say I've ever seen that one before.
It's a bit of a throwback. You used to take him in top lane. I remember I used to play him in top lane. He's super strong in those 1v1s. He's just always a good skirmishing style play, and especially you can build him brawler, and he does fit well with a lot of the top lane items. And going into an Ornn, I honestly don't know that matchup itself, but I think that just theory crafting, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one for sure, because there are the late game scaling factors for Ornn, but he still does a lot in lane. I think that both of these top laners are going to have a very interesting time, to say the least.
Yeah, because the Xin Zhao, like you said, can itemize a lot of those nice bruiser items, like that Play the Rune King, which will help him shred through the Ornn. However, though, I mean, when you're getting in that Ornn's face, that's going to make his life easier, because he can just pop the Bell's Breath, run at you, hit you with that big old clap of his after he's procced the Griddle on you, and it can burst through you. So I'm curious to see how it works out here, and especially what rune choices Xin Zhao goes for in the top lane, because there are a couple of options here you can go for, like the press attack. I know Hail of Blades is kind of common, but that's more so a jungler's choice. I'm just curious, to say the least, here for this top lane, because it is so interesting to finally see a Xin Zhao top lane. It's not a pick I ever expected to see, but hey, I am pleasantly surprised to be seeing it.
Very, very true. Well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the teams, but we will get those sorted out, and we will be getting into the game as soon as possible. So do not touch that browser. We'll be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have game number 2 here for you of the Divine League Losers Bracket Finals. As we hit the rift, we see yet another 5-man stack from the red side of the map. This time, it is Soulbound, who want to try something finicky at the beginning of the game. Now, they have a lot of damage early on and a decent amount of CC here, so let's see what they can do. You're looking at Havoc to land his stun. Yoo-Hoo going to be caught here. Ash going to flash early. Havoc going to try to follow it up with his own. The spear is going to land. The ignite comes down. They have the damage here. Another spear from Best Turtle. Where's he going to land it? It is not going to. And they get a couple summoner spells here, but a couple summoner spells burned as ADC is going to be looking mighty juicy there for Best Turtle.
And that is absolutely massive there, getting out both summoners from this Ashe, who is typically a lane-dominant AD carry, thanks to her range, thanks to her poke with that volley. However, though, now that she doesn't have the safety of that heal, of that flash, well, now she's a lot more easily gankable by Best Turtle. The Havoc, I mean, he can walk up. Pantheon has one of the highest base movement speeds in the game, if I'm not mistaken, at 355, which is absolutely ginormous. That is more than a boots difference between him and Yoo-Hoo if he does want to work that angle. And it just means that this Pantheon can be going for these cocky all-ins during this laning phase. I'm just wondering if he will have enough damage without that ignite and with that Noxjo Ezreal supporting him.
It's a bit rough. That's not a lane combination that you would typically see. You usually want something that can go in all in with the Pantheon when he lands his combo. But you're still going to have a lot of strength there with Noxjo. And Ezreal, as we've highlighted already in game number 1, is one of the best ADCs in the game at this point. Yes, I do have to say I am worried about the damage potential right now for Havoc. I don't think they're going to be able to capitalize too heavily on it because you do really need that ignite early on as the Pantheon. But to this point, they're still feeling pretty good on the bot side. You are expecting that Best Turtle is going to be looking down here again as this Nidalee, looking at the ADC who has no summoner spells. But it is a bit rough when she is being able to spot you out. She does have all these things available to her.
And that is something you do have to keep an eye out on, are those hawk shots, because I know there are a couple of players who think hawk shot is one of the most broken basic abilities in the game. A lot of set players happen to be junglers, so maybe there's a little bit of bias coming out there. Junglers don't like being spotted out when they're doing their own Raptors at level 3. Either way, though, here comes a Nidalee.
Yeah, Best Turtle did arrive towards the bot side of the map, but didn't really get anything. And Havoc going to be on the worst end of this trade, actually, since he's going to have to use the jump to get away. And it was a bit of a forced gank by Best Turtle. Not going to be the best look early on.
Definitely very forced there. I have to agree. Like, you could have made it a little less forced there. You did have a little bit of an angle, but you needed the stun to really start it off. And you were fighting into a little bit of minion wave. It just did not work out. And now this Pantheon, you have an extra potion, but I don't think that's going to be really enough here. And that is going to hinder this aggression a little bit in the spot lane. Maybe force out an early back here. And
I just want to point out that Olaf was taking the red buff, and Best Turtle hadn't even gotten there yet. So he comes upon it when it was being taken. Now they've collapsed onto Chingbear. The spear's going to land. He flashes up, but it's not going to be enough. Chingbear getting very low, but so is Best Turtle. Who's going to go down first? Killer Guy looking to make it his, as that is going to be him picking up one. On the bot side, you have Noxjo getting a kill onto Orbit. He's getting very low himself, but Yoo-Hoo will be the one to fall. It is a clean double kill for the bot side of Soulbound. Meanwhile, they do lose one in the mid lane.
And God, that was such a good all-in in the bot lane there by Noxjo and the Havoc, because they wanted to all-in here before this first back, and they happened to have Ignite back up there for that fight, which was absolutely massive. And now they should be able to get a free recall off here and potentially have a bit of an advantage here, especially since Yoo-Hoo, he's going for the Mana Mune Ash system, which is interesting. It can be a very nasty spike once you fully stack that up at around 2.5 item mark. It depends. Either way, though, like this top lane.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a sticky situation for Press-Evoy, who is just going to get the axes to the face. The TP was committed. Maybe a little bit overzealous. I guess just in case. He's going mid anyways.
Yeah, I mean, Impressed Epoy did have the flash. He wanted to try and go for that over-the-wall flash, so maybe that teleport was there as a little bit of security. Either way, though, putting the shins out behind, never mind that. Here comes Vest Turtle. That's a good spear.
It is a great spear, and the damage is going to connect. Steel City Warrior going up with another kill for himself, and Akali's looking a lot different this time around, coming from the mid lane, as doing pretty well for himself there, having 2 games back-to-back. Having done very well for himself in the mid lane. I'm feeling really confident for Steel City Warrior himself, but you have so much to worry about in the later stages of the game here that it does get a bit worrisome. I mean, you're going to have those orange items coming through, just adding that much more scaling onto everybody. You do have just the sheer objective take and strength that the front line is bringing for Honeyfruit Gaming. And they are already looking to go up on objectives as they are taking down this first Cloud Dragon.
And that's just the positional advantage they have right now. Best Turtle, he's in the top lane, so they're able to nab this Cloud Dragon, which can be very big. You have to remember, Karma, her ultimate, she loves having any sort of ultimate CDR she can get because her auto attacks and abilities against champions do lower that cooldown. So it's similar to the Ezreal ultimate where getting the CDR on the ultimate is technically double value since you're getting flat CDR reduction. And that's not even accounting for the other ultimates here, which can be very big. I'm looking at you, yeah. I'm looking at Scuzz, right? Like having those on lower cooldowns, always very big. However, though, that might not be something we see really rear its head for another minute or two here once they get their ultimates here in this bottom lane. As Nox Joe, he's going in really hard.
They get the flash from Havoc. Look at the damage. That's the combination there. And Nox Joe just going to flash forward for that kill, and they are up now 2-0 on the Ezreal. He doesn't even have the tier yet, which he will no doubt go back and buy here pretty quickly, but it is looking all good for Soulbound and towards this bot side. And Best Turtle is there just to make sure things are still tight-knit. Meanwhile, the top side is getting a little bit in trouble as the Press E-Boy is going to be pushing that way, but Grand Starfall not going to connect towards the bot side. Ching Bear and Orbit want to pull something off. Here comes the TP. This is Scuzzrat coming to the fight, as well as Steel City Warrior coming to join. That's going to be the Orange Horn going through. It's not going to connect onto Nox Joe. But they are going to be able to get a kill there. Returning the damage onto Ornn. Steel City Warriors just dashing, weaving through the fights, but he could be in a very terrible situation. His killer guy finally has arrived. He's going to pick up his own kill to go 2 kills up on the Ahri. As everything settles down, we have a couple kills across the board for everybody involved, but Oppressed E-Boy still pushing up this top side.
And if you look at the side of Soulbound and Mirage here, like, they're able to spread a lot more kills over a lot more members since their bot lane was able to survive there for the initial part into that second fight. Whereas on the opposite side, I mean, look at Yoo-Hoo. He is 0, 2, and 1 on this Ashe. Yeah. He's got a cull. He's got that tier. This is not a great position to be in as that Ashe who can get constantly dived by this Pantheon. And this was something I wanted to point out a little bit earlier when we saw that initial all-in in the bot lane Lemons before the whole dive happened, and I had to hold off that point. But either way, though, it's like, I mentioned that Ezreal, he typically has a fairly weak first stack once he comes to lane. You know, he's sitting on mana and not typically raw combat stats. However, though, this Pantheon support for the Havoc, since they weren't able to get those 2 kills early on in that lane, he's able to go back and get those double longswords, and that is pretty big on Pantheon this early on. We can see he already has that serrated Dirk too, and it's not like there's any armor built up on this bot lane right now outside of the runes. It's very easy. There's an enchanted Crystal Arrow from the bot lane.
We're gonna circle back to that bot side here in a sec. Oh my! The predict. Oh, the arrow coming across map is going to connect. They are going to pick up 2 kills because of it, and maybe a third. They do lose a couple members, but a double kill goes over to the Ahri. The killer guy perfectly engaging, but man, Yoo-Hoo with that arrow. I'm just going to say it was a little bit of luck as they both flashed right into it.
You know what? When there's a fight happening in the river and it's a straight shot from you in the bot lane, more or less,
then didn't see what happened.
You can make some miracle arrows a little bit more easily. However, though, I believe Soulbound Mirage got that Rift Herald. It doesn't say who killed it. However, though, neither team able to pick it up, no matter what the case is here, which can be pretty big, especially when you consider that they were able to even up the kills here on the side of Honeyfruit game. Now it's 4-1 on this Ari for the killer guy, who did go for that electrocute too, so he's going for the full-on assassination playstyle. None of that wussy glacial augment stuff, and killer guy, he is going to be a real threat here because he can burst out basically everyone on the enemy team, because it's not like anyone's really going to be itemizing super hard magic resist early on, except for maybe Steel City Warrior getting Merc Treads, but that is a Merc Treads worth of MR to deal with compared to something like a Spectre's Cowl or Spirit Visage. Like, this could just be an absolute field day in the killer guy show coming up.
Definitely could be, and they're looking poised to make it so. I do want to circle back to the point I was going to make earlier is Nox Joe and Havoc played that lane so well. Nox Joe got a little bit of gold early. He went and got the Sheen first, so he gets the pop-off damage on the lockup by Havoc, and so that's how they were really able to set the pace going forward. And now he's got everything he wants. He's got the man immune, he's got the Sheen, and they're going to be doing just fine on those engagements. So honestly, I think it's a lot to do with Soulbound's play of the bot lane and how they approached it. They did so well, and it's helped them set themselves up hopefully for the later parts of this game. But you got to think about the dragons, and yes, you're only down one dragon at this point. The next dragon is up at the moment. It is a mountain dragon, but you're looking to get as many of these as you can, and especially as early as you can.
Because when you look at the opposite side here, if you are Soulbound Mirage, like a single mountain dragon going over to the side that has that Ornn, that is nasty. Of course, Bear, he's going to be atomizing some resists, at least later on. I assume he's going for the Black Cleaver right now, so not a lot of resists right now in terms of items. However, though, we are going to be seeing resists coming out for most of these members, so even having a single mountain dragon against this very high damage mid-game orientated composition for Soulbound Mirage, it is going to help a lot here to help you survive in those team fights.
Yeah, and this is a much closer game than game number one was. We are neck and neck, just about 1,000 gold separating these two teams, with that lead being on the side of Soulbound Mirage. But with the way these compositions are set up, with where the gold is on both of these teams, that doesn't mean anything. You have a 4-1 Ari in the mid lane, rocking that new skin, gonna have that mobility to get to the fights that are monumental in how these teams want to set up. And we are going to tie up in dragons 1-1 as the mountain dragon is secured by Best Turtle, and they could be looking at bot here.
Let's see what happens here, because they do have several members in the area. They don't have their jungler. Bear is in that top side counter jungling. I don't think we're going to be seeing a dive here with how the wave is situated. However, though, still see where you do have to be a little careful in this mid lane. Look for the charm.
You got to be really careful. I am loving this engagement in mid lane, though, because you're buying so much time. This whole time, Oppressed E-Boy, he's had TP. He's had the availability. He doesn't care. He's gaining a farm lead at this point. He's going damage Xin Zhao, if you didn't see, go Farino. And he is just going to be the ultimate Chad in this game number 2. And I am so much looking forward to that. He has been constantly pressuring this top side. He's had so much damage. And as I speak of him, he's going to get a couple tower shots there. So that's unfortunate. He nicely flashes out of that one. So he redeems himself at least. But it's going to be something scary to deal with, because you're going to have this guy who can just press one button and be on your back line.
And that is definitely a dangerous situation if you are Oppressed E-Boy. However, you have to remember here, Lemons, I don't think Oppressed E-Boy is going to be looking towards team fights, so to speak, here, because if you're itemizing Essence Reaver first on the Xin Zhao, I believe you're just looking more towards that split push game.
I just think it's going to be hilarious on how this kind of plays out, because honestly, Soulbound have been taking some really nice fights without him there. So I'm really interested to see how the rest of it plays out. That is so much damage from Killer Guy, and that's the gold. He already has Ludens. He got a really nice amount of damage on all the members there, and they have to think a little bit twice about it next time. You do have members coming up here, but nothing's really going to happen. You're just going to get some backs.
Yeah. Thing is, though, with that 4-member stack there in that bot lane, Soulbound Mirage, they're able to get that first tower, which is pretty big. That is that extra chunk of gold. It's going to net them a little extra control in the spot side, especially for this up-and-coming Ocean Dragon in about 2.5 minutes. It's going to be nice just having that little bit of extra safety to push that vision into the enemy jungle, and it's going to help propel this Ezreal even further ahead of his enemy counterpart here. But we'll have to see what happens here in the top lane, because the Press E-Boy, he is very squishy. The Ornhorn isn't up, but there's the Searing Charge.
Yeah, they're pushing this very heavily. You saw Bear really wanting to get in there, but they do have some backup here. Best Turtle was able to shadow, so was Havoc. So they did have responses, and you also have to think about the Grand Starfall plus the True Shot Barrage being able to get there so quickly. So there's a lot of factors as we're going to see Havoc go in. The arrow, the spear actually connects onto orbit. That's a lot of damage down. He's going to jump forward. Meanwhile, Press E-Boy is going to connect onto Scuzzrat. The True Shot Barrage is not going to be enough damage to get the kill, but they are looking at the Rift Herald now, and they have it set up to where they can choose to fight this for Honeyfruit. Looks like they're going to use the Ornhorn. Does get the knockups. Havoc getting low. He goes down. Steel City Warrior on the backside, but the Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands onto a Pressed E-Boy. Nox Joe is getting chased all over. This is such a spread fight across the board. Steel City Warrior trying to recoup, trying to get back with Best Turtle. He's going to be able to take down Ching Bear. Potentially the fadeaway axe is going to get the double kill there for Ching Bear. And Best Turtle needs to make something happen here. He needs to get them off of this Rift Herald if he can. All he is a cougar with some spears, and he's going to have to land a couple of them. He does have it. Is he going to try to go in and commit for it?
He has to go now.
He's going for the spear. He gets it. Okay, no. He didn't get it. Riot, when are we going to get notifications, please? Havoc just gets bursted down by the Fed Ari. Now they're just going in. Orbit getting very low, but Yoo-Hoo's going to pick up that kill. Actually, it's going to be Killer Guy going on a rampage. A Pressed E-Boy still in here. Gets the one knockup. The charm not going to be enough. Shut down going over as the Ashe gets put into the dirt. Such a long series of events. Such a long fight around the Rift Herald, but it is still going to be Honeyfruit Gaming who can pull away a little bit of something from it.
But Soulbound Mirage, I feel like they just overcommitted for that second part of the fight there, Lemons. Like, after that spear landed, after it sold the Rift Herald, just walk away. You aren't going to be winning that tail end of the fight, especially 2 versus 4. I will cut a little bit slack towards the Havoc there, because that Grand Starfall might have been channeled a second or two before that Rift Herald did fall. Yeah. And at that point, it's just a matter of committal issues. However, though, as it stands, all you get out of that is really denying the Rift Herald and, like, a few extra kills off the back, which isn't really too worth it when you consider what you had to give here. But this could be the anime redemption arc, because this is an Ocean Dragon on the Rift. Both these teams are going to be eyeing it up, and I guess sticking to the script here so far this series, we are going to be looking towards a Ocean Soul.
Yep, and it does look like it indeed, but the mid tower is going to go down. Oh no, Steel City Warrior gets caught by the charm. That's so much damage going down. Now they have to be careful though, as the dragon is just going to go down. First Ocean Dragon secured by Honeyfruit. They're going to go up 2-1 in the dragon score. But after that, you got to think that the next one is going to be a little bit more hotly contested by Soulbound.
And they're going to have to. Here comes Best Turtle into the bot lane.
Yeah, E-Boy just needs one more to get the knockup down. They do have the damage, though. Scuzzrat just does not have the tankiness. And Oppressed E-Boy is picking up a kill on the bot side. It was Ching Bear nearby, but just too far to respond, too far to do anything. And he's going to have to get something going here on the bot side, because it looks like they're just going to push further up.
Yeah, I don't think Bear could really do anything in this situation. Like, sure, he has the Ragnarok available and he could try and go in, but that would be a very hard deal going into this Xin Zhao, going into this Nidalee. Like, you're going to get hit by a spear, burst for a buttload of health, and then, of course, Xin Zhao is going to use his little Demacia dash on you and just start poking away with his big old poker stick of his.
The poker stick, I like it.
There's Poker Face, and now we have Poker Stick as a new line of merch.
There you go.
This is deep behind enemy lines. Look at this collapse.
Not great. The Grand Starfall is coming in. That is a huge Orange Horn. It's going to get the double knockup. Look how much damage it just did as well. Enchanted Crystal Arrow came across, but did not hit anything. Steel City Warrior, a bit of a late TP. They're going to try to re-engage here. 2 go down, though, and they are able to take the fight continuously. God. Steel City Warrior is showing what Akali can do, what it didn't do in game number 1, and Nox Joe has signed up to finish off this fight, as they just needed one more. Oppressed E-Boy is on a rampage at this point. Orbit will fall. And yes, it seemingly was Honeyfruit Gaming getting the momentum, getting the speed, but right when you think it is starting to trend that way, Soulbound Mirage let you know that they're still here. Yoo-Hoo is taking the mid lane. You do have Killer Guy in the top side taking that, so they are winning out.
And that's the thing I wanted to point out here too, Lemons. It's like, that was a very extended fight in the bot lane, and yes, they do come out on top after a little bit of a shaky catch out there. However, though, when you give up that top inner turret, combine that with the top outer turret, you gave up 2 turrets for that play and a little bit of chip damage on that mid turret, and that can have some lasting repercussions opening up this top side of the map with Baron up on the table, since not having to deal with that mid lane outer turret or any of those top lane turrets. It does give a lot more free reign for Honeyfruit Gaming to run into that jungle, set up some vision control. Yeah, Best Turtle, he is in a little bit of trouble here, but you have to remember, Lemon's Nidalee very mobile in that jungle.
Yeah, for sure. It was just a little bit of a scare where you like jump over the wall, there's a big guy with 2 axes standing right there looking at you in the face. You're like, oh, I'm just going to go this way.
Yeah,
oh,
that is,
I thought that was
definitely a thing. You has to be a little careful here. Able to dodge on the spear at least, but
they have 2 spears though, Gofrino. They throw 2 spears at you. What do you do?
I mean, if you want to count Shinzao too, there's technically 3 spears on me.
He doesn't throw it though.
He can't throw his weight around on a composition, so I guess that kind of counts if you want to be like a little cheeky.
Yeah, for sure. We're adding that. That's completely... It's canon. It's canon, for sure. He throws his spears when he melee attacks you, no doubt. But at this state in the game, we are getting a bit of a farm situation here. You have another dragon spawning in 1 minute and 15 seconds. It is going to be crucial. It is either going to be Honeyfruit Gaming going on Soul Point, which puts them in an even better position to control this game going into the later parts of it, or we're going to tie up dragons and things are going to stay how they are, and we're just going to get fights left and right. And I'm really excited for either option here, but it does look like Soulbound want to target this mid lane still and just are not able to get what they want going. Chingbear has consistently just been in this side lane. He knows that they need the priority in the bot lane to get into the dragon pit and have all that set up for himself, so he's making sure that it can be consistent down there.
And getting this early control when this dragon is coming up is just so crucial. Look at how Soulbound Mirage, they're already kind of pincered off into their jungle here with a little bit of deep vision coming out from the opposing side, Honeyfruit Gaming, and it might be a little bit hard to contest this. We see the first Ornn item coming out already. There's the teleport. Look at Havoc here. He does have a little bit of a flank here, as I feel like there's a lot of calm going on right before the storm, Lemons.
Yeah, you also have Steel City Warrior up towards the top side of the fight. They might be looking to collapse onto him at this point. They do know that he is there. This is seemingly going to be an awkward fight for both teams, as you are getting a bit of a push up here. Best Turtle, not much mana on the Nidalee, so you got to be really careful. Only has a couple spears left in the tank. And slowly you're going to see the speed come in. That's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to land on Best Turtle. Best Turtle's the target. He's not going to get taken down. He's still alive. But it's Yoo-Hoo the target now. He doesn't go down. Shutdown for Chingbear. Meanwhile, the other members are falling. You have the damage of Soulbound still alive. Steel City Warrior waiting to go into the backline. You still have a 3v4 at this moment. And Steel City Warrior does not want to pull the trigger on that. He tries to get out of there. And they are on the wrong side of this fight. It looks like they are just going to go towards this mid lane, potentially push that through, or circle back around for the dragon that this original fight was completely over.
Such a position.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if you want to back there exactly, but they are going to start this up. Havoc on the backside of the pit. Do they want to pull something off here? True Shot Barrage not available. I'll have to see if they are going to... The smite's just there. Yeah, Chingbear is just going to be able to secure that one. They go down, And that's sole point for Honeyfruit Gaming, who are looking much, much better in this game number 2. They are up 2K gold as well, Go Farino.
And it all started off with Best Turtle VN. He was forced to more or less take that blue buff there, and that just opened him up to just getting the wrath of Honeyfruit Gaming there. We saw the Ornhorn come out, and everything else just come out onto his Nidalee. Looked kind of even at first, and sure, Honeyfruit Gaming were kind of stranded in the enemy jungle, but there wasn't really anyone else on the enemy team who could really take anything else in the tank there to stand up to the enemy team. No way though, Oppressed E-Boy, he's looking mighty fine in this top lane. Here comes help.
Oppressed E-Boy does so much damage. If you saw in that fight, he was just chunking out Yoo-Hoo, who is actually going to land a nice arrow across the map here. But he was chunking Yoo-Hoo, but he doesn't have health. So the second they turned on him and saw what he was doing, he disappeared from the fight. And if you can sustain a little bit longer, that fight is a lot different. Meanwhile, Steel City Warrior getting engaged on by Chingberry might have overextended, but he does have some backup by his teammates here. TP coming down. That is Guzzrat coming to join the fight. He has Ornhorn available as well. Will they be able to use it? It looks like they want to target this mid tower, and they do just that. Nox Joe coming finally on the side, but they don't really have a way in at this point. Your big engage is Havoc and Best Turtle, which is not exactly where you want to be at this state in the game.
And this is a very interesting point in the game here, Lemons, because both these teams more or less fairly close. The only real noticeable difference is going to be that double Ocean Dragon, which can rear its head in these fights. Just that constant missing health regen, just always so pesky to deal with if you aren't able to burst through them. And especially if they do happen to get that Ocean Soul that is going to potentially be up here in a little under 3 minutes. Oh, Best Turtle. He's actually going to be caught out by that inner flare there, which is really good by Orbit. As Soulbound Mirage, they're just so desperate to try and get a little bit of momentum in this mid lane, because they want to try and crack some turrets down here, garner some map control for themselves, but they're just not able to.
And a lot of it just has to do with they're looking for the picks. They want to find a way into these objectives, and they feel like the real way to do that is to find somebody pathing in the wrong direction, or find one of these catch outs, somebody maybe making a mistake, and just have they honestly Honeyfruit Game have been playing pretty well. There's been a couple moments, and Yoo-Hoo has had some very interesting positioning for an Ashe, but oh my goodness, speaking of, and there are some shaky moments, but I think together as a whole, they've been playing this game so well, and it's been so consistent so far. They've had the objective control. They've been able to make these calls, and it's looking really good from their side.
And a lot of it just happens to be, well, their composition. They can just pick off enemies so easily when you have this Ahri, when you have this Ashe, when you have this Ornn. You can kind of dictate the pace of fights here when you get ahead. Or those Guzzrat, you have to be careful again, because once again, we saw this site just a minute or two ago, and we see it here again, Lemons, with a couple of Soulbound Mirage members hovering towards this top lane, looking to target out this Ornn, because we see the damage that Oppressed E-Boy has been able to put out. It looks like he's going for the Infinity Edge next, which I find to be a little bit curious. I would have thought he would have been going towards maybe like the Death Stance or the Lay the Ring King, just help them shred through this Ornn, have that extra bit of sustain. But looking to take down this tower.
The tower taking is crazy, though. That damage, just a couple of shots, brought that tower down. Yes, the tower doesn't have any armor at this point in the game, but still.
I mean, the 3-town strike, I believe the bonus damage does apply to towers there, so when you pop that Q ability, you can shred through these towers with how much attack damage you've built up so far on this Xin Zhao. And the killer guy being forced to commit to this top lane, he should be able to handle the Xin Zhao with how fed he is and just how far ahead. I mean, this is a 3-item Ahri, but you're having to commit your most fed member, and he's going to have to teleport to respond to fights, which isn't the most optimal, because if Soulbound Mirage are able to start off a fight without that Ahri around, they can look to get a insurmountable team fight wise lead before that Ahri comes in. Next thing you know, that Ahri is teleporting into 3 enemies and a death trap.
All right, go Farino. I'm setting up the stage. I'm DMing here for you. So we got TPs available for the killer guy. He is looking at the fight. You have a dragon spawning. This is Soul here for Honeyfruit Gaming. We have a huge fight in front of us, and it's just about how it's going to unfold.
And I'm curious to see how it happens because Best Turtle VN once again a little low in mana. The Dragons actually
started it up
here. We do have everybody here, so whether or not someone has teleport doesn't really matter. It's just going to come down to pure team fighting as the Dragon already below half. There's the Ornhorn.
Ornhorn comes through. It's going to get the knockup, but the Dragon goes over to the Nidalee. Here comes the Grand Starfall right in the middle of everything. You got to be careful. The backline is just hammering away, but the members just get melted. From the side of Soulbound, Nox Joe sitting full health, almost full mana, but cannot do a thing. They have arrived at the tankiness that they are picking this draft for, and there is just nothing that Soulbound can do about it. They tried to put damage down, they tried to get everybody, and they had a good engage, but the health bars are just too much against that composition.
That's the thing, because we saw them all jump in, but no one can take damage here. We just saw several members get instantly blown up, and that's what kind of happens when, I mean, you literally have a full crit damage Shinza on the top lane, you have this full damage Nidalee in the jungle, and of course that full damage Akali in that mid lane, so by the time we did see the Havoc come in with that Grand Starfall, well, one or maybe even two of his teammates were already dead. Silver Lining, though, they were able to prevent the Ocean Soul from going over, and having to deal with that enemy Ocean Soul would just be an absolute nightmare for this very Hamage-based composition on the opposite side here for Soulbound Mirage. And if Soulbound Mirage are somehow able to get the Ocean Soul for themselves, it kind of pseudo-solves their lack of tankiness issue a little bit, since everybody does become a little bit of a drain tank, quote-unquote.
To an extent, yeah, but it's looking really rough for Soulbound for sure in this game, and I think it's a testament to the mental for Honeyfruit in game number 1, because that was a rough game. We all saw it, we all know. But in this game number 2, they're looking like a completely different team, and yes, they've drafted a very, very different composition for themselves. They have these tanks, they have a pretty standard composition overall, but they're executing it well, and that's what really matters. Is Havoc is going to get jumped on, and at this point this is just the gold lead speaking for itself, and the positioning itself as well, as they are going to be able to pick up 2 more kills. And
that's
look at the Baron, as Ching Bear has already started it up.
Best Turtle, he is still live on this Nidalee. He does happen to be in the area. There's already ward placed on the opposite side of the wall, so this is going to be tricky. They were able to get vision for a split second with that blue trinket. They have a bit of an idea here. There's the teleport coming out from Steel City Warrior. They have to do something here, Lemons.
Look at the damage. They're just getting poked down by Baron. They can't really do anything. Nox Joe is going to get hit here. They want to go over. Baron's at about 2.5k. Yoo-hoo doing damage over the wall. Best Turtle getting very low. The True Shot Barrage came across. Nobody's going to go in to steal it, and the other members are just falling. This could just be all she wrote here, as they don't commit for it further. They do get Baron on all 5 members for Honeyfruit Gaming, and they're going to try to get a reset. Killer Guy, though, going for kills, as Best Turtle doesn't know where to run. There is nowhere to run, friend, as you are just going to be hunted down by the wolves that bear, as they are just completely pushing this up. They were going to back. They were going to get a reset. They were going to be the nice, friendly guys around the block, but they decided, no way, we want this tower. And the Ornhorn items coming through are helping with the sustain as well. Looks like they're just going to siege it up.
And I feel like this is more or less a death sentence in this game for Soulbound Mirage. Here comes the Ornhorn that is going to knock up the Xin Zhao. He's a little too far to get engaged on, but it does, of course, secure that inhibitor. They should still have about 2 or 3 waves of Baron buff left. I'll take a quick check. Oh yeah, they should have 4 or 5 Baron waves, if I'm not mistaken, right now. So about an extra 2-ish minutes of that buff left. That's more than enough to back here by shove down a lane and look to force down another inhibitor, or of course get even more momentum coming up for this Ocean Dragon that is spawning in less than a minute, because you are already on that salt point. You just got to get that one more dragon, and Soulbound Mirage, they kind of have to contest this, but we saw what happened last time, Lemons.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a 7k gold lead at this point. You can just kind of take that and throw it around as much as you want, and especially waving it in front of this dragon pit is super scary. You see, though, that Best Turtle is getting good position here. Nobody knows he's there, but his team might get run down anyways. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to miss. he's just buying some time. They do see him though, so they know he's there. But
it is an early.
I really thought that Best Turtle was just gonna wait and sit over there. That was a point blank charm that's not gonna hit, but Best Turtle is gonna go down anyway. Killer Guy is way too fed. And now without a smite, this is no doubt gonna be the soul going over.
There's the Grand Starfall coming out. The Havoc just going behind enemy lines here. You're dead here, buddy. That's a 7 level up mid laner. That's a charm landing. He just dies before I can even hand it off to you. That's how fed this Ahri is.
Level 18 before anybody else in the game by a good margin as well. As you said, 8 levels above the support for the enemy, and this is not doing well for your mental on the side of Soulbound. You had such a good game number 1, although that's going to do pretty well. Steel City Warrior still performing as we know he should be able to, and pulling out that kill could be looking more or just buying some extra time. Best Turtle has arrived back at the base. We have a TP coming down from Xin Zhao, who had been split pushing this whole time. And Steel City Warrior just running for his life. I'm very curious at the Xin Zhao pick for this game. I have to say the damage is good, the potential is there, but it just hasn't been in this game. The double knockup, speaking of, is going to go through. They just don't have the sticking power. Oppressed E-Boy has his one engagement. He gets one at least, but the health just goes down so quickly. They are able to get Yoo-Hoo though, so they get the ADC, they get the big fear of the base push, but you've still got Orbit. You still have Chingbear coming up and Scuzzrat there. So there's a lot of potential for the game just to end at this moment, and Steel City Warrior wants to try to make that not happen. He is going in onto Orbit. Orbit getting very low. Does he have the damage to finish it up? The tankiness, the knockups. He doesn't get the execution. Orbit stays alive. Look at the healing. That is going to be all she wrote, as you so beautifully said. The nail in the coffin for game number 2 as Honeyfruit Gaming bring us to 1-1.
And it's just a red side curse this game, or this series. I feel like both the times red side has had kind of sus looking drafts, and this time around, I gotta ask Soulbound Mirage, like, what was the thought process behind this Xin Zhao top with this build and this Nidalee with this build? Because keep in mind, Best Turtle, he went for the Leandru second. He took the Conquer, and I took a peek before that game ended, and I know it is a complete factual statement right now since he wasn't able to respawn, but he healed for 6 whole health with his Conquer in that 36-minute, 45-second game. Lemon's like, definitely a very sus choice here on this Nidalee, and I just feel like I gotta call out this Soulbound Mirage draft a little bit here.
I definitely think there were some interesting pieces. I get it though. I get the experimentation. I get that this could have worked in some practice, and it's a strategy that potentially did work, because there's a lot of possibility in the split pushing of a Xin Zhao who has built full damage, who has built this very non-tanky build to get the split pushing going, to really just force somebody to respond to him in the side lanes, which Ornn was doing to an extent. But then you started seeing the fed Ahri from mid lane responding to the Xin Zhao, and it didn't become as effective. I mean, he was just getting blown up in every fight that he tried to get a part of. We said where he wasn't really a big team fighter, he was still trying to get into those team fights, because at that point you just have to. And he would get the good round of damage, he'd get the charge in, he'd get the first couple autos off, health bars would be dropping, but then after that original engagement, he never got like the final knockup in, and his health bar was gone by that point. And that is the questionable decision. Is like, I would have rather seen a little bit more of a tanky Xin Zhao, maybe even go just to Trend Force with a tankier build, because you do still get that strength and you still get a lot of that sustainability there when you're trying to go on those backlines. So I'm really looking at Soulbound to change up their draft here. I think their game number 1 was really good, and it's a solid draft that they represent a lot of. But is that all you got here, Soulbound? You got to show me something more. You can't go into a best of 5 in the finals and think that you can just get away with the Gragas Yasuo all game long. So I find that a very interesting point. We'll have to see what they want to respond with, but unfortunately, I took the entirety of the airtime here, Gofrino. We're going to send it to a little break as we get ready for game number 3. You're not going to want to miss the action. Welcome back, everyone. We are into picks and bans for game number 3, as we have Soulbound Mirage on the blue side, Honeyfruit Gaming on the red side, which we know what that means, that the script stays strong, but we'll have to see on that one. Check back later, tune in later. We've got Caitlyn, Mordekaiser, Ashe banned away, more than likely here, at least for the Ashe on Soulbound Mirage, as they do take that one away. And for Honeyfruit Gaming on the red side, they did take away that Gangplank, which we have seen every game so far, the Bard and the Gragas.
That does mean, though, we are going to have a few different things slip through the bans here. The Renekton that we did see banned last game will fall through. I don't think Soulbound Mirage will exactly be one pick it here, especially since we did see the Poppy into it last time. There is that potential for the counter pick there, so I wonder what they go with here, because that Yasuo is open, but they don't have his partner in crime, that Gragas. And all right, it is going to be the Volibear here, that very, very safe, flexible first pick.
It is, and it's just such a strong point in the game right now. It has fallen off a little bit from the nerfs, and especially the healing loss in the jungle, especially. But my boy, we have a first pickup for Honeyfruit Gaming in the Renekton in this game number 3, which we did get to see in game number 1, but it went really well for Soulbound Mirage in that one. We'll have to see what Honeyfruit Gaming can do with theirs, as Karma is the lock-in as well as their second pick.
And that Karma, I've said it before, I'll say it again, very flexible pick. Is it going mid? Is it going support? Who the hell knows? That is the potential of that Karma, but combine that with the Renekton here, which is interesting, but taking that away from Soulbound Mirage, who were able to snag that up in that game number 1. Soulbound Mirage, though, looks like they're hovering that Senna that was working out fairly well for them in that game number 1.
It definitely did, and just I'm so sorry. The chat in the lobby is hilarious right now. Yeah, it was so strong in game number 1. It also just backed up their composition so well, because you had these carry potentials, you had these pinpoints on the map that were so strong, and Senna just gaining strength the entire game. And when it all came to a head, you saw how strong they were all together and how dominant they were. So I love to see that. The Blitzcrank pickup for Mirage, though, is going to be a little bit more a little bit different, where it was Honeyfruit Gaming that picked it up in game number 1. They're going to pair it up here with a very interesting setup in the Senna, potentially in the bot side. Now, Ezreal was the ADC lock-in for Honeyfruit Gaming, as we've said all series long, still one of the best ADCs in the game.
And especially inside Blitzcrank, it is the easiest thing ever as an Ezreal to use your Arcane Shift to buffer that hook if you do see that rocket grab coming your way. Of course, so for this Karma, if it is a support Karma, it might be a little more tricky. However, though, since this Blitzcrank is paired up with a Senna, it's not like there's going to be a massive amount of 80 carry DPS dropping on you. Senna really only has her passive burst from applying the 2 auto attacks on you, so I'm curious to see what else is paired with this Blitzcrank, because obviously you can still get kills with this Blitzcrank in the lane with how squishy Karma Ezreal are if you do land that Gucci hook. But I want to see what it's paired with for this mid-game to late-game Lemons, because it's going to need a little bit more oomph in the tank if you are going to be pulling in the late game, especially once this Renekton gets a few items under his belt, has a bit of extra beef, and now there's an enemy Sejuani too, so pulling an enemy Sejuani, and you're going to want a little bit of cavalry to back you up if you do hook in that big old warrior on that piggy.
On that piggy. Yeah, I did want to highlight the last bans here. On the blue side, we did have Olaf Kassadin taken away. On the red side, we had Shen Sendra taken away. The Sejuani picked up, as you had mentioned, going with a little bit more tankiness for Honeyfruit. They do have the synergy with the Renekton as well so far, but Gnar, the pickup for Mirage, and this is a champion that I just absolutely adore, because it has so much playmaking possibility. And then you pair it up with Cassiopeia for that late game AP consistent burst damage. Well, I guess not consistent burst damage, doesn't make any sense. Consistent damage in the poison. That Mirage's team is set up beautifully for the entirety of the game. But if Ahri gets locked in, which it does, Honeyfruit Gaming are going to be feeling real comfortable, because the killer guy just had a huge pop-up performance on that pick.
I'm curious to see how it works out in this matchup, though, because you have to remember that Cassiopeia, she does have that miasma, which can potentially hardcore shut down that Ahri. You won't be able to use that Spirit Dash to, just dip and dive around and get that optimal positioning for that skill shot on your Q and your Charm. So I'm going to be looking towards that, especially since this Cassiopeia can just hardcore punish you if that miasma does land on the Ahri, and it's going to be a little different compared to that Akali, because sure, Akali could definitely throw damage back at you, but it's not like the Wrath you can face against Cassiopeia, where she's just going to be hosing those Twin Fangs on you, just healing up a bunch of health, since it does heal her on that Twin Fang for the base ability. Not to mention, probably going to see a Ravenous Hunter on this Cassiopeia, and the fact that you're just getting mowed down and just killed by 1,000 paper cuts that are being done by what is essentially a steak knife of an ability, this Ahri might be really tricky to pilot in this mid lane.
It could be. I'm still thinking that you can still have some very strong opportunities for Killer Guy from that mid lane, but yeah, I do agree it's going to be a little bit harder. I want to shout out the fact that both of these compositions feel very stable in this game, and yes, we've had a little bit of volatility throughout the first 2 games. Compositions maybe not being the most stable, but here for both teams, I feel confident that this is going to be the game that defines the series.
Because Soulbound Mirage, we saw what can happen when they do get that lead, when they happen to get their comfort picks in that game number 1. But Honeyfruit Gaming, they came back with a vengeance. So if Honeyfruit Gaming, they're able to keep up the momentum here, well, Soulbound Mirage, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because now you're against a team on that match point. You haven't been having luck, so you're going to have to pull out something new. However, on the flip side, Soulbound Mirage does take this game well. It means they've learned how to adapt to Honeyfruit Gaming, what worked for them the last game. So that means Honeyfruit Gaming will once again have to adapt going into the next game, and this is why I love Best of Five Lemons. Like, they're their own mini storyline, and you can see the meta throughout the series just evolve constantly, and that is what I'm going to be looking for in this game.
Yeah, because there's a lot of well, I guess not a lot, but there's some new picks into the series and some older picks, and where you come away in these games is what you learn from them. And with the fact that we've had 2 very strange games, I would say, in game number 1, game number 2, both where one side, the blue side, had a huge upper hand. I want to see if the script you say switches this time around, and see if Honeyfruit can pull out a win on the red side to change things up. But we're going to send it to a little break. We had a bit of an issue with one of the players in the draft, so we have to restart the draft yet again. But make sure that you do not touch that browser, because we're going to go to a little break while we get through it, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. You have joined us for the party of a lifetime here in the Divine League Losers Bracket Finals. We are tied up 1-1. The stakes are on the line. Loser of this series goes home. The winner goes to the grand finals to face Oasis Esports. And we have been off with a bang. Very topsy-turvy game 1 and game number 2. Hopefully, it all culminates in a perfect game number 3.
It might be a little dirty here because look at this Blitzcrank. Oh, that was so close. Like, you could see the hairs on that crocodile's chest being tickled by that hook. I don't know if crocodiles have hairy chests, but hey, it is very nice of Scuzzrat to be dodging out on that because we're talking about how important this game was in that champion select, Lemons. And if you die level 1 like that, especially as this Renekton who wants to get ahead in the top lane, well, it's a bit of a no bueno.
Oh, is Noxjo got a soul? GG.
Yeah.
Call it here, folks. That's it. No.
Oh, but he did trade a mana flow proc. So.
He did. I was just about to say we have an update. We have an update. It's a little bit more of an even game now. Okay, we don't have to GG. You don't have to forfeit yet. It's okay. But seriously, this game is gonna mean so much for this series. And yes, Game 3 is always mean a lot. It is the turning point of a lot of series. It is the moment where things have started to get felt out and you kind of know the approach of your enemy team. But at this point, with the way that both of these teams have been performing so far, I think we're just going to get a toss-up at this point of who really shows up in this game. But I do feel like it is going to affect a lot of game number 4 and potentially game number 5 if we go that distance. At this point, though, for this game in particular, I'm still looking at the mid lane. I'm still looking at this bot lane, but specifically Best Turtle and Chingbear in the jungle. They've been so impactful already in this series. I'm looking for that to continue.
And that's what I was looking at too here, Lemons. Like, the junglers are going to be so pivotal for this game number 3. We saw how much they can help decide the previous 2 games when either of them gets ahead, helps their laners get ahead, and I feel like this game's going to be no different. You got that Sejuani who has that Arctic Assault, has that Glacial Prison, can make a lot of things happen. But of course, on the opposite side, you do have that Volibear, the literal king of tower dives once he hits that level 6, gets that Stormbringer. Never mind that.
Looking for an early gank? Yeah, Scuzzrat might be in some trouble. He doesn't get the slice and dice. Gonna have to be careful. That's the jump from Steel City Warrior. They just need one more tick. Best Turtle gonna get first blood. You see the little TF thumbs down emote come out from Steel City Warrior, and he's going to feel just fine. Did also want to mention we didn't show it and we didn't talk about it, and that's on our end, unfortunately. Steel City Warrior and Oppressed E-Boy have switched it up, and they have traded lanes for this game in particular.
And going back to that first blood there, that is a very crucial first blood. Never mind that. That's a great hook.
Yeah, it was a great hook onto Orbit, who is going to take a good amount of damage back from it. As Noxjo just trying to rack up that soul game as Best Turtle back again. And the same, is this deja vu? We just saw the same combo, not pulled off this time, but they are definitely looking to put the hurt onto Scuzzrat in that Renekton.
And this is one of the best ways to tilt the top laner, Lemons. Like, you can see Scuzzrat, he doesn't have flash from that play. He doesn't have his teleport either because he teleported back to lane, and if a top laner teleports back to lane and then you were still there as a jungler and just happen to kill that top laner again, well, they have to do that dirty walk of shame back to the top lane. And I don't know if you're a top lane main, Lemons. I know I'm not, but from the times I've played top lane, if that happens to me, it is quite the tilter. Here comes a gank, though.
Yeah, Best Turtle has been the epitome of early access here, but nice jump over the wall. Chingbear going with the flash. He does connect it. The cleanse comes out from Oppressed E-Boy. He's getting away. Look at the speed. All Chingbear needs is one more smack. Yeah, and that's going to be it. He bought a lot of time as Killer Guy is going to be run down by the bear himself, the Bear Turtle Man, as Noxjo is going to secure that kill. And things going a bit wonky, a little bit sideways early on, but Soulbound coming out with 2 kills over their opposers.
And you have to look at where those kills went, because as Sejuani picking up a kill here, that's like, you get tankier quicker, which is nice. But Noxjo getting this early kill, that can be pretty big. He is going for the farming Senna here, who will be getting more gold income, will be scaling harder, and of course, it does translate to a better back here. As I'll take a quick look at gold. He does have 1,200 gold in the pocket right now, so he can look for a potential pickaxe plus mana crystal back here, or if he really wants to, he could look for a Tear of the Goddess back here with maybe boots or a longsword. There are a couple ways he can take it. Either way, though, this is going to be pretty big since both these AD want that early tier. Never mind that.
That turtle just doesn't stop. This man is on a rampant. He is going to single-handedly win this game for his team at this point. This early game is unstoppable from this volley bear. And yes, Ching Bear doesn't really want to get involved. Yes, you can skirmish early on as I said you wanted, but he's just been farming up, and it's been Best Turtle taking complete advantage of it.
And I feel like this has been an oversight by me on the caster desk, and I didn't notice until I looked over at the chat, but we actually have a Predator Volley Bear. Like, almost nobody's taking the Predator rune right now because many people kind of just assume it is very heavily nerfed. However, though, Best Turtle, he's taking it here on this Volley Bear, and he can use that to really settle these ganks, because when you run in with that Thundering Smash, you're getting MS, but you're adding some extra MS on that. Here comes the hook.
Not going to be able to get anything there. He goes in for the knockout, has to flash away, but Killer Guy has arrived. The charm going to land onto Havoc, and he is not having a good day in this one. He gets taken down. Meanwhile, on the top side, Steel City Warrior going to look for the kill. He's going to have to throw here in a second. One more, maybe? It's not going to be enough to get it off. Yeah, and everything settles down just a bit, but we have one dragon in the pocket of Honeyfruit Gaming.
And honestly, I kind of like that contest a little bit from Soulbound Mirage, but after that hook missed, I feel like they just had to walk away there. They didn't know where the Killer Guy was since he had left the mid lane, and now the Killer Guy, he has a kill on this Ahri. After you have that rough start going down 0-2, like, that is such a terrible position to be in an Ahri against a Prestige Boy who is going to be outscaling you, who can outduel you, especially with that cleanse. And now he has a little bit of extra footing back into this game. It's going to help him claw back a little. It should even up the gold here. Yeah, mid lane gold just dead even right now. So thankfully for now, this Ahri still staying on top of the world.
The world. Yeah, Prestige Boy doing okay, though. The Cole has been picked up for Yoo-Hoo on the Ezreal on the bot side. Not something you typically see, but he is in a bit of a bad lane, I would say, for him. Just the chance of getting caught out at any moment, just trying to take full advantage of the CS for himself. And with how the game has gone so far, Ching Bear has developed a very strong CS lead in the jungle, but it's been the action around the map for Best Turtle that's really been the impact, because you're getting gold on the members that need it. You're getting this pressure added into the lanes, and it's helping so much for this early game for his team. But at some point, Ching Bear is going to show up and is going to be a part of these big team fights, and that's where you have to worry.
And now that Ching Bear is level 6, he has that Glacial Prison. Like, that is such a potent tool here, especially if he goes bot lane. Noxjo can't do squat about that unless he has flash, unless we're talking about later in the game and he has an Edge of Night. But this is laning phase we're talking about. And then, of course, healing in the mid lane. A Prestige Boy, sure, he has the cleanse, but he can either cleanse the charm or he can cleanse the Glacial Prison. You only get one here, Lemons, and it can be that tough and tricky situation. Never mind that. Here's a little all-in the top lane with this gank.
Guzzrat walked right into it. Boomerang went wide for Steel City Warrior, and Steel City Warrior also backed off after the Stormbringer. It's a bit of a lack in communication there for Soulbound towards the top side, but they still at least get the flash from Guzzrat, so they get something out of it.
Because, I mean, one of the most classic trades in games.
Oh no, Prestige Boy. Big Bear had the angle the whole time. There's the damage is coming on to a Prestige Boy. The Killer Guy is going to pick up that kill. The cleanse was also used.
And that's what we're looking for in that mid lane as Havoc. He's looking for this.
Oh no! You're so close. Now the turnaround, though. Yeah, Noxjo, you're just going to get run down at this point. Yoo-Hoo not wanting to commit to it, though. And
he has
did look Best Turtle. Yeah, it's not going to land. Best Turtle was right around the corner here Looking for a lane gank at this point. Looking to play off of the aggression that Yoo-Hoo and Orbit have been showing so far. Do they want to pick something off here? They are going to get it. Orbit's flashes, but it's too little too late as the jaws come down. He actually gets the return kill on the Nox Joe, who just gets blown up. That is huge to get the 1-for-1. Now we're tied up 4-4, gold lead within 600 as well. And now another objective going over to Honeyfruit Gaming in the form of Shelly #1.
And I feel like Nox Joe there, like, just throw out the piercing darkness there. Get that assist and walk off. You don't have to risk it. Although I do like this play from Chingbear in the top lane. He doesn't have the ultimate.
He's baiting him. Yeah, he's trying to get him to come into the Sejuani, but
God bless
just gonna do anything. I love emotes so much.
They add so much to the competitive gaming aspect.
You mean the BM aspect of competitive gaming?
Like the thumbs up emote, like just dropping that after your opponent just makes a royal misplay, like flashing into a wall.
Yeah,
That's
my
boring.
favorite is the Star Guardian Jace. Or no, is it the Academy Jace?
Star Guardian Jace. Yeah, it's
it's the Academy Jace with the little like twinkle and like the little point at you. That's the one I use all the time. It's great.
I've been personally favoring the it was a special emote they gave you if you bought emotes when they first came out and were a little bit more pricey before they reduced the price. It's the Pango top hat one where he goes,
oh yeah.
I love that because
So
it's like
funny.
it's just so universally applicable. Although Chingbear looking towards his mid bot lane.
He is. Noxio is going to be in some serious trouble. The rest of his team's coming down to
comes
try and get
Calvary.
him to it. TP from behind. This could be the play. This is it. TP late from Scuzzrat's going to join the fight really late. Best Turtle is here. Scuzzrat finally joined, but the first member to fall is Chingbear. The slam into the wall. That's going to be another kill going over. Killer Guy is arrived, but he's not able to do anything in that fight. A double kill going over to Oppressed E-Boy, and now they are potentially going to grab this dragon. You still have to be careful. Killer Guy still has
a ward.
The damage, but yeah, they know he's there. They know that he's available to flash something. That's going to be it. Killer Guy just gets caught out. Oppressed E-Boy on a killing spree. And this is the late game insurance policy that's getting all this gold, all of these kills, all of these items.
And those are the types of plays I love to see out of Blitzcrank when we're talking about this sort of series, Lemons. Like, to have that sort of, like, cojones in you to make that flash play onto that Ari. Sure, she was on a ward, but Killer Guy, like, there was a world where he does flash or use the Spirit Rush to just dash out of it and nullify it. But to be able to get that, you deny that mid laner who popped off so hard last game, put him even further behind, let your mid laner get even further ahead, and then, of course, guarantee that secure for your team on that dragon. That is so important in here, and as we go later on into the game, it's gonna be tricky because the Killer Guy, he's gonna have to blow something if he wants to be avoiding these hooks.
Best Turtle responding to the push by Yoo-Hoo and Orbit down here. You'll see the bot laners for Soulbound are finally heading that way, or at least the Senna is. The Blitzcrank, though, looking at potentially roam. I would like to see something like that coming, but it's a little bit late, I feel like. Chingbear, looking at the top side, you have seen... I just think it's kind of funny. Do we have, like... Are they just so used to going to these lanes that you see Steel City Warrior went to the mid lane? The phase rush going to be nice to buffer that Yoo-Hoo. Oh, no. Oh, I thought he was going to root him. Yeah, that's going to be a... Look at the damage from Nox Cho! It's so early in the game, and these shots are dealing so much from Senna. As the True Shot Mirage tried to come out, tried to dissuade the follow-up, but it didn't do anything. Another kill going over on the bot side of the map, and that was huge. What I was making fun of earlier is I just think it's kind of funny that Oppressed E-Boy like naturally went to the top lane and Steel City Warrior went to the mid lane. I don't know if it was a call or if it was just like, okay, this is where I usually play and this is where I feel like I got to run to after I get out of the base. But I just wanted to highlight that. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, and honestly, we saw in that bot lane trade there, I believe Nox Joe did get a little bit of a lucky crit there since Senna does get free crit from her passive, and it's only 15% right now. Oh, the instant cleanse actually coming out from Prestia Boy. That could have gone south orbit. Has to be careful with the hook.
That's an easy hook. Are you going to use it? The Dawning Shadow coming down as the Executioner's reign And bot lane's looking real rough here as they're going to focus on the tower. They get the first tower as well. Meanwhile, on the top side, flash forward. Oppressed E-Boy trying to get the damage down. Not going to be able to. The Petrifying Gaze didn't get all what you wanted. But Steel City Warrior has to jump over the wall. The stun, the combo. One more attack. No, the Dominus is popped by Scuzzrat as he gets out and survives. But man, this game is all over the place right now.
It's all over the place, but most of the places happen to be in the favor of Soulbound Mirage. Like, this is such a dominant lead there. 5k up. That's a great hook.
That's it. Oh, she auto-attacked the tower.
There we go.
And another Best Turtle.
Bringer is up.
Is this Denzel Washington in Deja Vu? Because he's just going back over and over again. I mean, he has literally done the same gank in like 4 different lanes, 4 different times. Over and over again. This man has been calculating. He knows exactly when to be where he needs to be, and they are just using this aggression so well.
And why wouldn't she be using that aggression? Like, just look at this.
Can't do anything. That's another kill potentially in the middle. Steel City Warrior just tanking towers. This might be it though. Steel City Warrior needed to flash out of that one. Meanwhile, Best Turtle overextended. No mana. There is no reason to be there. And these are the things that add up, is when you get that confidence, you overextend, you play aggressively, it can come back to bite you.
Thankfully, though, it is just a 1-for-1, so it isn't the biggest bite in the behind there, but it is definitely a bite, because he did give up that shutdown. Sure, it goes over to the orbit, but you're helping this Karma get back in the game a little bit, and as Karma's shields are always going to be a little bit annoying to deal with, as Karma's move speed boost is going to be a little bit annoying to deal with too, so I'm looking towards Soulbound Mirage here, Lemons. Like, they have to tighten up their gameplay just a little bit here. You don't want to be making mistakes like that. You don't want to be getting a little too cocky like we saw there.
Yeah, you do. I have to give them the benefit of the doubt, though, because they are scaling. They do have a very strong scaling composition. They can feel decently safe flexing their lead a bit, because they have ballooned into about a 6k gold lead here, which is a significant amount. I mean, that's almost that's a good amount of gold for this point in the game. We're only 17 minutes in here. Third dragon of the game is spawning here in 5 seconds, though. It is the Mountain Dragon. We have the Mountain Soul for this game number 3. The first priority, though, for Honeyfruit Gaming was the Rift Trail. They're going to be pulled off of it. And it looks like we're not going to get that initial fight over the dragon, but it could be over this Rift Trail. The Ching Bear is just going to have to let it go. I feel like your Ching Bear is one of those like animals in the safari that like hunted a carcass, like got it all done, and then like a hyena or a lion like comes and steals it away from him.
And that's the sort of demoralizing stuff. Like,
it is.
The Havoc has built a Mage Eyes here. Like,
oh,
he knows they're ahead, and you have to remember, AP Blitzcrank can do some fair good damage. Rift Herald is pop. That is a good charm. I think they have a little bit of a fight brewing here.
Another tower looking to go down, though. They could be looking for 2. The hook not going to connect. They go in, though. They get Best Turtle. His health bar doesn't last. Glacial Prison misses by just a little bit. Scuzzrat's waiting for the engage on the side. All they have is Meganar here. The tower getting very low. They are just going to take a little wink of the hat there from the just awful Lucian. I just think that is such an evil persona for Lucian. It makes me sad. But anyways, they are going to get a little bit of the BM there. They get the tower, and now they could be setting up for this dragon. You have to wait for Best Turtle, though, who did go down in that trade. So they don't want to start it up just yet. Or they
I
do.
like all those cancel autos from
I know.
They look very funny. As someone who plays 10 AD carry myself, I know the pain of canceled autos. Those did look slightly more intentional because it was on the fruit and not cannon minions, which I am notoriously bad at getting. But hey, either way, though, that is a dragon picked up, put back in here into the pocket of Soulbound Mirage. And honestly, this is just a blue side difference so far this series, I feel, Lemons, because so far every game, blue side, they've been looking fairly strong. And we seem to be continuing that trend in this game number 3.
Definitely has been, and you gotta wonder how that affects the rest of the series, because it's been honestly, like, it's been a little close, but at one point or another the game just gets blown open, and it's always in favor of blue side so far. So you got to think going into game number 4 what we're going to see. Are we going to see differences? Are we going to see something change up? You got to think we will. But we still got this game to go through. It's only a 6K gold lead. I say only. That's a pretty good amount of gold. But it's only a 6K deficit for Honeyfruit Gaming. And there are moments where you've seen some very strong engagement from them. It's just been the damage that's been a little bit lackluster. But you're getting there eventually.
Eventually, yes. But you are, of course, fighting against this Cassiopeia, who's just going to be such a threat. Like, you're going to have to commit a lot to get this Cassiopeia, because Sejuani Renekton, sure, you can get on top of that Cassiopeia and maybe burst her out, but you're going to be dealing with that Blitzcrank, who can, of course, pop you up with that power punch of his. Does have that AoE silence, and of course, there's that Senna, who's going to be dropping a bunch of heals onto this Cassiopeia for a Prestige boy, and when you add it all up, Lemons, like, it can be a little bit more tricky than what it initially seemed to take down this
with the Baron snake. Talking about sneaky snakes, they're just going to burn this Baron. It has been spotted out now. They know they're here, but look, Sejuani's all the way across the map. The Baron's already at 5K. This is just going to go down. This is going to be a huge objective pickup. Can they do anything about it? It is going to be secured by Best Turtle, and they get 5 full Baron buffs 30 seconds after it spawns.
This is just looking like a Season 8 or Season 9 game here with how early that Baron was taken, because good lord, that was quick. We haven't seen as much of that in Season 10. Now that Earth Dragons aren't true damage against objectives, it has generally slowed down. Baron takes a decent bit across the map. However, though, with this early Baron, they don't have to worry about a dragon for another 2 minutes here. The world is their oyster, so to speak, on this map. You are Soulbound Mirage, and you can look to really take control of this game, because now that you have Baron, you dictate the pace of the game, and a Blitzcrank that dictates the pace of the game, well, let me tell you, Lemons, it is not fun to face that, because he decides when to hook, when to start a fight, and the only thing you can do about that is hope you have your flash up or one of your dash abilities.
For sure. There is one little piece of information I want everybody to keep their eye on here going into the next few minutes. Baron buffs are there for Soulbound Mirage. You have also a TP available for Steel City Warrior. He can join a fight if needed, but they're going to be perfectly fine just split pushing with this Baron and using it or utilizing it to the utmost advantage. You already see the waves pushing top lane. You're going to have the mid wave pushing up as well. No objectives for another minute and a half as that dragon's going to spawn, but they'll be just fine picking up all this gold from these towers. And meanwhile, talking about gold, Orbit gives over a nice little chunk of gold. That was a lot of damage from the True Sharp Barrage of Yoo-Hoo onto Nox Joe, but they still lose one. It is Orbit, it is their support, but still another member to go down, another body to lose.
And okay, yeah, you chunk out Nox Joe, which is going to be annoying for him, but he already has a little bit of CDR in the tank as this Senna. He's going to be able to pop that. Here comes Best Turtle, though.
Stormbringer, it's not going to hit the tower, but it doesn't matter. Yoo-Hoo gets obliterated on the map. Killer Guy trying to get something going for himself, but they are just going to use this death ball of a composition to shove it right down the throats of Honeyfruit Gaming. To see if they want to go for more here, as they are looking at this inhib. They have Barons available still on all members. We'll just have to see what they want to continue to push. I don't know if they have the forethought to go all the way through. I think it'd be a little bit of an overextension. Nice little BM back there though from a Prestige boy. Not gonna lie.
That is the potency of that Baron, but since you do have that 4-second recall, you can do a lot more cockiness there, because normal recall, it's 8 seconds long, Lemons, and that is a long-ass time in terms of League of Legends standards. Now, when you have that, hey, you can do a bit more BM like that. Either way, though, we do have this Dragon back up on the rift. We even see Steel City Warrior teleporting in on this Narc, just so his team can have that 5 versus 5 fight for this.
Steel City Warrior needs to be a little bit careful. He's up front here. Best Turtle on the backside of this. Just trying to get this Mega Gnar bar filled up.
Oh
here.
my god!
With the pick off on the side. Nox Joe with the damage. Look at this Senna just popping off. Orbit's going to get caught here. Nox Joe with the flank, because you know an ADC can do that. 2 shots, that's it. Orbit's out. The next one's going to fall here. That is so much damage coming out. Petrifying Gaze going to connect. The Mega Gnar push just there for the the giggles, and it is so over for Honeyfruit Gaming in this game. It has been a complete domination from Soulbound Mirage, a lot like we saw in game number 1, but something that was completely non-existent in game number 2. It is so back and forth. You gotta think the blue side buff is strong in this series.
100% win rate, although it might change. That is a big shutdown picked up. Let's see if that's enough to save this turret. It is at least enough to dissuade the charge here. It's going to force the Soulbound Mirage boys to the back here, at least for now. And never mind that. Here's the Havoc. He's looking for the hook. Doesn't even get the name.
But Killer Guy, ooh, that one auto attack though, but it knocks Joe.
Juicy Lucy shutdowns.
He drops Killer Guy with one auto to like half health, but then he just gets exploded.
I mean, the Sari doesn't exactly have any armor built up against the Senna, who has that last Whisper item already completed, has that Dustblade for the lethality, but that might have some repercussions here. With this dragon being up, now that it is a 5-4 advantage, we could see Honeyfruit Gaming pick this up here, deny that potential soul point on the opposite side. There's the Pocket Stain coming out from Killer Guy, so we might see some fight coming out. That's a nice little
out of the pit. Oh, he gets back in there. Steel City Warrior is going to be some serious trouble here. They're going to go for the full engagement. Petrifying gaze right into the tank's waiting face. Huge silent Yoo gets dropped. Steel City Warriors on a killing spree now. They thought they could. They thought they had a moment, but they just end up in tears and flames as they get the dragon, but they lose everything else in that fight. Now they're looking at losing their mid-inhib tower as well, and that could set them up for a very dangerous precedent.
And that's what happens when you're running into this fed AF Cassiopeia. Like, it's like you're sending your entire team through a wood chipper on steroids, Lemons. Like, you will get shredded. I don't care how tanky you are. I don't care how fed you are, but this fed Cassiopeia will demolish anything in her sight. And now it looks like the game is in their sights here as the first turret drops.
He had Stormbringer. I'm just going to say that right now. He had Stormbringer. They could have ended
here. Presty boy sitting around. Petrifying Gaze is almost up.
Oh, now he uses it. He goes into the Yoo-hoo. Dawning Shadow comes across. They still have the fight. The gold lead is showing up here now as the Prestige Boy is going to get a nice shield from the Seraph's. Going to survive even longer. Nox Joe looking to poke down the damage. They're getting very low. Meganar is now available for Steel City Warrior. Is he going to go for the big heads-up play? The grab not going to connect. They still are getting a lot of poke damage. Killer Guy going for it. He gets a ton of damage. Nox Joe getting low. He goes golden. This could be the turnaround. This is the damage coming through, but Steel City Warrior gets the slam into the back. That's the Petrifying Gaze as well. And although they tried so triumphantly, that fight did not go for them. The charm gonna hit a minion right in front of the Killer Guy, and the minions are actually making a good defense of it at this point, but Killer Guy is not. He gets taken down. The next to fall could be Orbit, could be the Nexus. Which one's it gonna be? As the Nexus is the focus at this point. This is just gonna be the game here, Gopherino, as Soulbound Mirage go up 2-1 in the series.
And that does put Soulbound Mirage on the match point here. We said this game was crucial, and Honeyfruit Gaming, now the ball is in their park. How do they decide to react? Because they're able to react to the game number 1. Then Soulbound Mirage were able to react to them in this game number 3. So Honeyfruit Gaming, they kind of have to do it again in this game number 4 if they do want to continue on this series. Because if they don't take the dub in this game number 4, Lemons, well, they're out. This is losers bracket, and you will get sent home.
You will indeed, and Soulbound Mirage making a good try of it here in game number 3, just being able to control the objectives and know when to strike, because the fact of the matter is we were very tight. It was such a close game for a majority of that, but there was that one moment around the objective, that around the dragon actually, where it just turned on for Soulbound, and they were able to press their advantage. You had a Prestige Boy who was doing so well in Cassiopeia, and I have to give them even more props because they lane swapped. And yes, they are comfortable on these champions, but it's still awesome to see these pop-up performances come out from such a flexible team in Soulbound Mirage. And to highlight, like you said, Honeyfruit Gaming, such a good performance in game number 2. Game 1 and 3, not so much. I want to see them push back. I want to see them punch back. And I want to see them bring us to game number 5 and hear those sweet, sweet silver scrapes. But to see what happens in game number 4, you're going to have to bear with us in a small little break while we get through everything to get that game set up for you. Make sure you don't go anywhere because you're not going to want to miss this action.
Yo, what is up, everybody? We have already started the game number 4 draft here. For those of you who missed it, it is 2-1 in the favor of Soulbound Mirage so far. They were able to take game number 1, game number 3, and so far it has been that 100% win rate so far this series for the blue side, so I'm curious to see how Soulbound Mirage are able to counteract that red side curse this game, or how Honeyfruit Gaming are able to keep that trend going. Either way, though, we are getting into pick and ban here. We see a lot of common bans here. I'm pretty sure everybody who has been watching the series gotta remember a few bans here, although that Volibear ban is new, and Honeyfruit Gaming, they are gonna instant nab that Gragas, who's just such a potent force so far on this patch, so far in this series, and it is gonna deny that Gragas Yasuo synergy that worked out so well for Soulbound Mirage in that game number 1. So I'm curious how Soulbound Mirage decide to respond here. The ball is in their park with Caitlyn Ashe off the table. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see another Ezreal lock in here, because he is the next slated most top tier AD carry, and that's actually going to be the R1 Yasuo coming out, which is definitely interesting. Yasuo in the first rotation, I don't think is terrible, although I think R3 might have been a little bit better for this Yasuo. Just get a little bit more of a feel for the enemy composition, know what's going on, but I like this Nunu and Willump coming out from the Soulbound Mirage side here, because Nunu and Willump, I do feel like, is a bit of an underrated champ as my co-caster now. Able to rejoin me, it sounds like, back from his water break. Lemons, you missed a lot of the champion select, but there is still a lot more to go, so what are you thinking of the pick so far? We got that Gragas facing against that Yasuo Nunu.
So I like the pickup from Soulbound, being able to take away the Yasuo. They tried to do the same thing last game, or last time that Honeyfruit had blue side. They wanted to get that combination. Last time Soulbound banned it away, though. So I'm really interested in why they didn't do so this time. And they did lose to the Ashe the last time they didn't ban it away. So we'll have to see. I like the composition so far from both. We do get to see that Nunu, so the fact that we get a different take in this game number 4 is going to be interesting from Soulbound, because I feel like they were so comfortable in the picks that they had last game. But you see a lot of that taken off the board, so you have to go with something different. The Lucian pickup here for Honeyfruit Gaming is a very interesting one to me. I think Lucian has so many strengths, but I don't. There's so many other ADCs right now that have so much just versatility and strength across the board that it makes Lucian a little bit on the lower end of the priority list for me. The Vladimir finally coming through though for Soulbound, that is a pick to watch out for. Go for,
Yeah, and I haven't seen the Vladimir to Ornn matchup a lot so far this season. However, though, I mean, the Vladimir should have an easy time dodging out on a lot of that enemy crowd control from this Ornn. Thanks to that blood pull of his, it is very easy to dodge out on the Ornn Horn, to dodge out on that Searing Charge knockup, and that can be pretty big here. The fact that this Vladimir will be able to free farm to a degree, hit that level 9 point where he has max points in that Q, that Blood Siphon. He'll just be able to use it off cooldown, be able to constantly regen it up, which can be big against a tank like Ornn, who may not always have the best damage, although Ornn definitely does have high damage for a tank. But with that being said, though, we have flied straight through the second round of advanced here.
We have Honeyfruit Gaming taking away the lethal combo from last game. They get the Senna Blitzcrank off the board, not available to Soulbound now. And then Tarek Braum, the focus here for Soulbound. They want that support pool to be pinched, and pinched it is. I wonder what they're going to choose here as the first pick in the second phase, because it can be a big one. They go with the Aphelios for that bot lane, the 200 years, if you will.
And Aphelios has kind of fallen off a bit after all the nerfs. However, though, I do want to give a quick shout out to Upsurge Esports for the raid.
Hey.
Foggy Woggies for our resident Upsurge mod in the chat. However, though, getting back to Aphelios, it was a little interesting, especially in that Lucian. You have some tools with that, like Inferno, to deal with that.
Yeah.
Lucian, you are able to match his prowess. However, though, you are a little bit more of a scaling pick. You can be a little vulnerable in that lane. So with that Lucian, he does use that Relentless Persona. He does get that double tap with that passive. Combine that with the Piercing Light and another double tap. Well, this Aphelios is going to be hurting.
Oh, man. Honestly, I'm fine with the Lucian pick now. You got a Lucian dip, diving, ducking, dodging in the middle of a fight with the help of a Lulu and a Galio and an Ornn and a Gragas. Like, that's fine. Bring it on. Take a team fight like that any day. So Honeyfruit Gaming have themselves pretty set up with their composition for this game number 4. And they need to. Again, we've said it so many times, but I'm not going to stop. It is put up or shut up for Honeyfruit Gaming. And Soulbound say, I see your composition and I raise you a Lux, as they go ahead and pick up that one for potential support here, as their lanes are going to be interesting. It looks like it's probably going to be a Vladimir top lane with the Nunu jungle, Yasuo mid, and then this very, not going to lie, deadly bot lane for Soulbound.
And Aphelios Lux, I mean, when you do have that Sniperium up, I know that's not the name of the gun, but it is that sniper gun. You will have an insane range advantage with that Lux in this bot lane. But that is only once every 5 guns, and that can rear its head here. I'm curious to see how the Aphelios Lux combo does work out here. If it does at all, because there is an enemy Gragas who is going to be very easily able to body slam these 2 immobile bot laners.
So I know you already did it once, but I got to shout out to the raids here. First of all, we had Upsurge raid us with their group. They're 49. Thank you again. I'm going to say that to Upsurge for raiding us. Then just now, we had XLNC raid us with 22 people. Like, thank you guys. I love this community so much. Amateur esports, ladies and gentlemen. We have built this awesome tight-knit family between the organizations, and it's just a great thing to see, and the support that is there, it's awesome. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for game number 4 of the Divine League Losers Bracket Finals. Soulbound Mirage up 2-1 against Honeyfruit Gaming. It has been back and forth. Blue side has 100% win rate so far in this series, And we are just getting started. This is the composition that Honeyfruit have drafted for themselves. This is what they say is going to bring us to Silver Scrapes. And I cannot wait to see how it all unfolds on the Rift. Go 3-0.
Yeah, because we've seen just how varied and action-packed these games have been so far. Sure, you could say there has been a common trend of that blue side winning fairly decently, confidently well. But we've at least had fairly new picks every time around, and game number 4 is no exception to that. I mean, Lucian Lulu, that is not a very common pairing in that bot lane. Aphelios Lux, I mean, I can't say I've seen that either, and as a bot lane player myself, I'm very interested in these bot lanes to see how they work out, because, I mean, they're just new for me, and I love seeing new things here, especially when we're talking about this losers finals where everything is on the line, because need I remind you and the chat again, Lemons, like, whoever loses this series, they are out for good. Like, you are done, and you have gone through all of your run through the Risen Divine League.
You know that tradition to like throw pasta on a wall and see if it sticks, or on like on the ceiling? I feel like audience is the ceiling, and we're just a bunch of we're just two guys throwing pasta at the ceiling over and over again.
So we're impaling our audience with some pasta here, like.
Yes,
I didn't know
it's all part of a bribe.
Raw Stromboli, but
raw Stromboli. What?
I can't say it is very high on the stopping power. Like,
I was thinking spaghetti, but like Stromboli, go with the whole dish. All right.
Rigatoni, Stromboli, fettuccine Alfredo, whatever you want. You say anything that's like, hey,
ladies and gentlemen,
it sounds kind of like
the pasta expert. Come to him with all your pasta needs. He will help you out anytime, any day. But seriously, Go Farino, I want to get into this one more time before we send it to a little break. The compositions are set, the teams are set, and Soulbound trying to carry momentum from game number 3, which they honestly performed very well in the actual, like, the decision making in the later parts of the game was so on point for them. If it continues into this game, that's going to be all she wrote. Honeyfruit Game are going to be eliminated, and Soulbound are going to go on to face Oasis Esports. But can they do it? Can Honeyfruit bring this composition? They stole away the Gragas. They brought in some different things. They're trying out something a lot different from what we've seen in the composition so far. Does it seal the deal for them, or do we get to go see those Silver Scrapes? We'll have to see. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to want to miss this game. Be right back here in just a few moments.
Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running low. Keep running
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are on to the Rift for game number 4 of the Divine League Losers Bracket Finals. Soulbound Mirage on the red side with Honeyfruit Gaming on the blue side. So, go Farino. We've had a very scripted series of events in this series so far. We've had very strong level 1s from one of the sides at some point in every single one of these games. This time again, it is Soulbound Mirage looking for it, but not necessarily going to be able to pull anything off because it's actually Honeyfruit Gaming playing super defensive at this level 1.
And no surprise really from Honeyfruit Gaming coming out, because if you lose this, well, you're out entirely. Although there's the world's biggest snowball coming through, so it technically was a little bit of action. They do get that deep ward down, and getting this deep ward down against this Gragas, it is always very nice because that flash body slam is such a potent early gank tool. If you really wanted to, as Bear, you could take that red buff, get that level 2 and insta path to that mid lane to kill these Yaz. Oh lord. Oh, that's a sneeze and a half.
I didn't know if you were like pausing for dramatic effect, but no.
Yeah, it was really awkward because it's like as I finish that, I'm like, oh god, I have to sneeze, I gotta finish. I finish it, I'm like, choo. I'm like, okay, now I'm good now.
Trolling on the desk, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought there were more sneezes in the tank, so I'm like, oh lord. Either way though, I mean, very calm level 1. Both these junglers gonna be starting towards their top sides here. Can look to snowball their bot lanes, which can be big because Lucian, of course, that very dominant lane carry who wants to get snowballing before he exits the lane. Look to transition to a very strong mid game state to early late game state. And of course, the Aphelios, who does hard scale, who does just get only better as the game goes on. Hey, if you're able to get him a lead early in lane, if he's able to get that free lane, that means he's going to be able to hit that late game power spike fantasy of his much sooner.
Late game power spike fantasy.
That's how Riot priced it themselves in Season 3. They're like, everybody will hit their late game power fantasy. I'm like, cool.
I mean, it goes with it. We've got the dating sim, we've got anime, we've got story arcs now in this series, and now it all culminates. It has been pretty impressive on the bot side for Yoo-Hoo and Orbit. Although this combination of the Lucian and Lulu, I do want to go into a little bit more because there is so much damage there from the Lucian, so much burst damage, especially with the press the attack. But again, Lulu is going to provide a lot of shielding, a lot of protection for him. So he's going to be able to get those trades pretty easily for himself. It is going to be rougher as the game goes on, though, because the second you get hit by one of those combinations from Havoc, you are not going to be feeling good no matter how big your Lulu shield is. But the fact of the matter is, early on, you can be a bit aggressive.
Yeah, and of course, when you're dashing in as that Lucian into that Aphelios, into potentially a little bit of CC from Havoc on that Lux, having that bit of shield is nice, not to mention the help picks passive, where it does give you that on-hit damage. Lucian does, of course, proc it twice with his passive, since that is a double shot. Okay, we see that full interaction in the top upper for Steve Boy, as here's a gank.
Best Turtle gonna get the gank. Tried to dodge the taunt, not going to be able to. The damage coming down, that's gonna be the flash body slam, and Best Turtle flashes out. Steel City Warrior has the tornado available, was going for the killer guy, but nothing goes down mid. They just get a lot of damage down, and Ching Barrett did expend the flash, got Best Turtle's flash as well, but they were able to stop the damage on killer guy. But the re-engage, that's the biggest snowball ever, going to connect Steel City Warrior, gliding through that minion wave like it's a stick of butter in this game.
Be careful.
He does. The TP is coming down. Best Turtle getting very low. The dashboard possibly there. The TP was used by Scuzzrat towards the mid lane. So now Press E-Boy is going to have some free time. The biggest snowball ever did come out to get Best Turtle to safety and ends up first blood for Soulbound Mirage.
And it is first blood on the Yasuo too. Like, we saw just how hard Yasuo can snowball in that game number 1 when he gets ahead. Well, this time around, he's into that Galio, who tends to have a harder time into physical damage matchups, to the point where we even see some AP mid laners go that Cole or Dorn's Blade into him first just to land that auto attack harass. And we see that early cloth armor already built on this Galio, which can be big since Galio, he wants to get that early Hex Tech. He wants to be able to just dash on you, the top lane of Prestia Boy. He's going to proc that phase rush. This is still that vulnerable Vladimir who hasn't hit that level power spike yet, hasn't got any extra CDR yet. So it is going to matter a lot. As I say that, of course, look at Bear coming towards his mid lane.
Still City Warrior needs to be very careful here, but they realize they don't have the advantage in this, and he can outplay them if he so chooses. So they pull off of that one. Bear again trying to be effective, trying to get active on the map, but is unable to at that point.
And that has to feel bad as the, I guess, who has such a potent early game. Of course, it's not like your ganks get any worse as the game goes on. Hell, they even get better once you get that casket, but Nunu doesn't have nearly as much gank power as you early on. The biggest snowball ever. A little bit more telegraphed than that body slam. It is a little bit easier to dodge, especially when you consider the fact that most of your laners here, aside from that Lulu, have like a dash of stunts in their kit, which can be used to dodge out on that. And it can add up here, especially as Honeyfruit Gaming, who are on the back foot in terms of the series, who have to win this game in order to take us to that beautiful silver scrapes point.
Indeed, indeed. And guess who wants to not bring us to silver scrapes? I'm going to go ahead and call Havoc on the Dark Seal for the Lux support. You got to love it.
Like
confident. Oh, that damage. Yeah, that's the burst damage I was highlighting earlier. It's so much. And these two members here for Soulbound are not tanky.
Killer Guy
Killer Guy gets caught. Yeah, that's going to be it. The last breath goes out. You still have the synergy there with the knockup from the biggest snowball ever, and still City Warrior goes up now another kill. 2-0 on the Yasuo.
And that is so scary because now this Yasuo is getting even bigger in a matchup he can win because the only defensive measure the Killer Guy really has on this Galio is that taunt on his W. However, though, you still bring that Yasuo towards you. You still have troubles dealing with him. And this cloth, okay, it is now a Seeker's Arm Guard, but it isn't really going to mean diddly do when we do see that. Never mind, here comes the Preddy.
Yeah. Ooh, nice little dodge there. He's going to land on Nox Joe. He flashes. He misses the body slam. He didn't have it. Now Junior is going to get really low. Yeah, they're coming down to respond to this. They just have to survive. And they are going to get aggressed on. That's the heroic entrance come to respond. So now it's a flat 4v4. But nobody's really wanting to overextend. You have low mana for the members of Soulbound. So nothing's going to happen down there. You see Gragas already heading away from there, but maybe the re-engage from the biggest snowball ever. Steel City Warrior coming in. The knockup goes down, but that's going to be Killer Guy on the back line. Nox Joe getting very low, but so is the Galio. Here comes the damage. He's taking the tower, though. He needs to be really careful, but Yasuo is just carrying this game. This might just be an early lead that you cannot come back from. 4 kills already on a Yasuo who is just tearing it up. You know this man feels comfortable on this champion. He has almost 500,000 mastery points on him. He carried game number 1, and he's doing a lot the same in game number 4.
And a lot of that is coming off the back of Best Turtle here on this Nunu. He has 100% kill participation so far in this game number 4, and he has been putting that kill participation to work here. He hasn't gotten any kills himself, but that's what you want to see because he has been giving over basically all the kills to Steel City Warrior, and the one kill that Steel City Warrior hasn't got has gone over to Nox Joe on this Aphelios. Yasuo, Aphelios, both are such potent scaling threats, and this was off the back of the fact that they were able to get that pick off onto the Killer Guy in the jungle, able to get that dragon, and now these scaling picks, they have a Cloud Dragon in their pocket, which is gonna be very nice when you look at the emote, like when you look at the final spark, and this is such a bad start if you are Honeyfruit Gaming.
The tunnel's getting a little bit darker, not gonna lie. Again, they still have some possibilities, though. I mean, you're only 2.5K, 3K down. It's a little early for that to be the case, but you have a very strong composition that comes together when you're looking at the objectives, but you just got to make sure that Steel City Warrior isn't too strong, because we've all known the pains. We said it in game number 1. We'd had this whole story again. I think the man might be Denzel Washington and Deja Vu, but yeah. It's been so much in this series about this combination, and again, we're seeing it pulled off here. Steel City Warrior going to beautifully get the last breath on that. The damage coming down on Killer Guy. He goes down. Top side oppressed E-Boy is going to fall, but he gets a kill for himself. And Steel City Warrior is officially 2,000 gold ahead of Killer Guy, and it just crested the 10-minute mark.
And this ball just won't stop rolling. Quite literally, like nothing can stop Best Turtle so far in this Nunu. Of course, I mean, I know the highlight everybody is looking at is this Yasuo 5-0-1. Like that is amazing, but like Nunu's setting it off.
They do, and on the bot side, the combo onto Yoo-Hoo is going to be a lot too. You got to be really careful. The Lucian does have a lot of damage, but Brock comes in, Havoc takes a kill. He's fine. Things are falling apart at the seams here for Honeyfruit Gaming, and you just got to hold on. You got to stitch it back together. You got to get back into this game. And yes, I do have to say, Soulbound Mirage have got the literal and figurative snowball in this game, and they have the biggest snowball ever, plus the mental snowball. Chingbear is trying to get something out of Joe. He is going to connect. He didn't get the body slam. The damage could still be there. He gets a trade kill. That's fine. You take that.
And now just take a look at the itemization difference between these two AD carries. Like sitting on that Infinity Edge to a Gildwater Cutlass. Sure, you have the Zerkers combined with that, but the fact that this scaling pick already has this massive buy on this Aphelios is so huge. And Havoc, he's in a lot of danger here on the spot tower. If he somehow survives, I will give the Nobel Prize to whoever comments first in the chat. Okay, good. I don't have to follow up on that promise. There's a little to follow up on. I am not a dictating person when it comes to handing out Nobel Prizes. But hey, Killer Guy in a little bit of a pickle here, able to dash out of that one. As here's the big snowball, just the instant flash out.
Yeah, but he still gets rooted up by this. He doesn't time the unstoppable right, and Scuzzrat just gets taken down. This kill going over to Best Turtle, getting a little bit of payment for his work in this game. And 11-3 in kills so far. You have a little bit under a 6K gold lead for Soulbound.
12 minutes
this early in the game. Like, this should not be happening. Heroic Entrance comes in. It's not going to be enough. Killer Guy needs a kill. He wants one. Do they have the damage? Have it getting low, but here has arrived a pressed E-Boy who flashes over the wall. He gets the kill. He could be looking to get out.
Why?
Chingbear.
Look at that damage!
Way overextended. Look at the level differences here. You have 2 level 10s against the level 7. There's even a 2-level lead for Best Turtle in the jungle. I am sorry, but the book is closing. The chapter is not being written anymore. In Honeyfruit Gaming, you got to claw out of this or it is over.
I think it's just already over at this point, Lemons. Like, I know bringing up just like pure number comparisons on a cast can be a little bit boring, but it's 13 minutes in and we have a 6K gold lead. Like, that is
gigantic. It's more than 6K now. It's almost 10K now.
Like,
it ballooned in that little fight. It ballooned almost 3K. It's getting unsurmountable. You're almost at a 10K deficit at 13 minutes in the game.
Here's the teleport, though.
He's looking for the play. This could be the turnaround. They get 1 kill. Now Nox Joe on the backside is going to be the next focus. They get 2. That's the turnaround. This is the damage. Best Turtle getting very low. This would be a huge shutdown as well. And another shutdown. So much gold just went into Lucian's pocket. He is feeling just fine after that. And yes, they are still at an 8K deficit, but you are showing signs of life, and that is what you like to see.
Curious to see what they do with this current temporary man advantage. It looks like Dive Yasuo is the play. There's the punch.
Yeah, the taunt gonna land. The knockup not, though. The damage not gonna be there. The last breath coming through. He gets a kill, flashes out, and he is cool as a cucumber. Flash forward. That's gonna be the knockup. The unstoppable, though. The turnaround. Steel City Warrior gets blown up, but yet another carry has arrived. The challenger has approached, and it is a pressed E-Boy, who's just going to chase down Orbit. Poor little Lulu is not going to be long for this world. And that's going to be another. Why are you backing there?
Because it's his own jungle. It should be safe.
Yoo-Hoo might be mental gapped here. Not going to lie. He just backed outside of a bush in front of Havoc. He was literally standing right there.
Wait, that's an execute!
Executed. The mental is in an unfortunate situation here, no doubt, for Honeyfruit Gaming, but you're still in this. There's still you just pulled back some serious gold and some serious kills, but you just gotta stay in it. You gotta think of yourself as like you're in a cockpit of a fighter jet. You can't just pop out. I mean, you can with the ejector seat, but you don't want to. You want to keep flying the plane, right?
Usually, yes, that is the goal, unless you have arrived at your destination, need to land. However, though, the destination is winning this series, and this isn't quite exactly the landing point yet here for Honeyfruit Gaming. As a Prestige boy, he has got out a little. Oh, got that heal.
The plane's having a bit of problems, but we see the Moonlight Vigil come through. The damage is there. Best Turtle is going to take that kill. They just got a quick reset. It's all about the backs, and their quick little kills gave them all the quickness to back they needed to buy all of their juicy items. You just look across the board, man. Just look at the item differentials. The last breath comes through. Yoo-Hoo dies. Steel City Warrior looking to go for more here on the killer guy. A Prestige boy actually not have some problems here on the bot side, though.
Look for the pool, though. Look at that heal.
Yeah, that knockup didn't land. The Ornhorn's going to be used. The pool perfectly timed. Scuzzrat going to be in some serious trouble at this point, although it's going to be very close back and forth. The heals there.
Look at the suck.
Biggest snowball ever. Nox Joe comes in to finish off the kill. They're just spreading the love.
And that is the tankiest member on the enemy team, still getting absolutely demolished by a Prestige boy. Sure, it does take a little bit of time, but we saw just how big of a damage output this Vladimir already putting out, and it's only going to get worse here because he only has the 10% CDR right now, and once it gets more CDR, here comes the snowball, though.
The heroic entrance coming in. Nox Joe getting very low. That's a lot of damage, and he goes down the overextension there. Best Turtle going to try to get away, but Yoo-Hoo picking up another series of gold. I mean, he is starting to come back in this a little bit, at least. He's up in CS now. He's picked up a couple kills for himself. He's nowhere near where he needs to be, but you're starting to work your way back.
And nowhere near where he needs to be is how I would sum it up right now, because if Mowgli could take a quick tab over to the gold totals right now, like, even with those nice kills he picked up, even with his CS differential, he's still 1,000-ish gold behind his counterpart right now. And we have a little bit of God. Look for the Hemo Plague of Prestige boy. He's picking that up. Teleport.
The level differences. Look at this. They've both level 12. You've got so much on their side. You have to be careful, but they're going to fully engage onto him. Steel City Warrior gets dragged down. That's it. That's how you play this game. You need to get the carries out. Now they're in a really bad spot here. They're going to be taken advantage of. Split apart. Killer guy is going to go very low. He's not going to go down. Moonlight Vigil just eliminates Yoo-Hoo from the entirety of that fight. My goodness. Nox Joe able to do so much damage with that one, and it's yet another fight that goes in favor of Soulbound Mirage.
And if this were any other game in this series so far, Lemons, I would have said, this is the point where you just kind of mentally check out. Save your mental for the next game, look towards that and come back then, but there isn't going to be a next game here of Honeyfruit Gaming drop out, so they have to give it their all, but they're just so far down in the pot right now. Giving it their all is maybe at best going to net them a kill in these fights when they lose so much in return. Like we saw there, they had such a beautiful start to that fight, but all they took out was Steel City Warrior, and yes, that is a big carry being taken out, but no one is on the backside to stop a Prestige boy from sneaking his little meddlesome blood mancer, quote-unquote, way into that fight and just absolutely devastating anyone. We saw what one empowered Q could do to even the killer guy on this Galio, who is supposed to be that anti-mage pick, who is supposed to have all that natural bulk against these mages, and now look at this, Steel City Warrior can 1 versus 2.
Exactly. The last breath goes down. Yoo-Hoo goes down as well. And that is just the power of Steel City Warrior, who is just turning on the gas here. Or should I say the jets, as that's a double kill. He's getting really low. He could be going down. Oh, he flashes out. Nice one from Steel City Warrior. Scuzzrat going to try his darndest. But can he do anything? He gets taken out in front of the tower while everyone is watching. And this is a rough situation to be in. We haven't even crested 20 minutes yet, and they are just BMing here in front of the base. They're looking at the inhib towers. There needs to be a defense here for Honeyfruit Gaming if they can accomplish anything. The trouble here is you facing such a huge gold lead this early on. I mean, we've almost gotten to 15K. There's just nothing you can do about it. And you just see it here. Look at the Moonlight Vigil. Like, that literally just almost killed them. And the follow-up is there. Last breath finally coming through. The cooldowns are there. This is going to be all she wrote for Honeyfruit Gaming, as the last members are going to be able to pull something off here, get some kills for themselves. They actually might stop the full take of it, as Shelly's still alive, but going to be taken down by the minions. The follow-up, oh no, Yoo-Hoo still gets taken down. Oppressed E-Boy is the next target. He goes pooled. Havoc still alive. That's going to be so much damage. How is this happening, GoFrito? What is going on? He finally gets clapped, though. I think that's deservedly getting smacked by Scuzzrat, and they don't get the Nexus. They get everything but in the mid lane. And no Nexus tower is defending yet. They have an exposed base, but they hang on for a little bit longer.
They hang on, but you have to remember, you said it yourself, the situation is rough, and like, it's at the point where it makes Sandpaper look like a fluffy dog. Like, I don't know how you come back into this. You have the Lucian, who is supposed to be spiking early. You have the Galio, who's supposed to be that anti-mage who can't even stand up to this Vladimir. Okay, yes, you do have that Ornn, who is going to be starting to pump out those Ornn items in just a bit here, next level, if I'm not mistaken, but he just finished his own second item here, whereas his opposing top lane really has that death cap, and I'm looking towards Honeyfruit Gaming here. They kind of have to pull off a miracle, but we have seen bigger miracles before in the cast.
GoFrito, it makes my heart hurt to see Lux's ulti at 23 seconds on cooldown. Like, that it shouldn't happen, okay? It shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be able to, and especially if she gets a kill with that, that's what, 12? So like, why does that happen? Why does that even exist in the game? I feel like that is just overkill. Meanwhile, talking about overkill, they're going to kill this Baron, and that is a free objective given over. And you gotta think this is just gonna be it. They're gonna push forward. They could overextend, though. That's what you're looking for, and that's what you're hoping for Honeyfruit Gaming. Here comes the knockups. Here comes Stun City onto Steel City. He goes down. That's another huge shutdown for the Gragas. The Ornhorn coming through. The Moonlight Vigil does not do as much as you wanted to, but he's still doing a lot. Look at those chakrams rain as Yoo-Hoo's the last member to do damage, at least, as Orbit's gonna walk away. He gets stunned up. That's gonna be it. Triple kill going over, and unfortunately the hopes to continue for Honeyfruit Gaming are gonna be dashed, and it is going to be Soulbound Mirage making the triumphant run all the way to the top to face Oasis Esports in the grand finals.
And Oasis Revenant were the ones who did knock down Soulbound Mirage into this losers bracket here, so we're going to get a bit of payback once we come back next week, as when this game does finally end, a little bit of BM coming out around this Nexus should be dropping here in just a second. There we go, and God, after such a back and forth series like this, was such a one-sided game number 4, because in the previous 3 games, at least, Lemons, we saw like both the teams, they put up a bit of fight early. One would get a lead and kind of take the game away with it, but it wouldn't be this massive of a lead. Like, this is nearly, what, 20,000 gold differentiating these two teams in a 23-minute game. Like, that is just so brutal to put it into words.
It makes it, and I don't want to harp on it too long, because Honeyfruit Gaming, they had a great run. I mean, just the whole story and everything about this playoffs has been amazing. It's just so unfortunate to go out on a game like this. You had not the greatest performances in game number 1 for sure, but you showed that you have what it takes to get to that final, to face off against Oasis and to potentially take the title. But that last game, that was not Honeyfruit. That was not the same game. So I'm going to strike that one off the record. Because at least for my eyes, because I feel like they showed so much more potential than that last game. And I really hope to see more of them in the future, but it is the end of their run. They do bow out here. And so that's when we look at Soulbound Mirage, who have made this miraculous, just tear of a run all the way back to the grand finals to face it. We talked about anime storylines earlier, GoFrito. This is the best anime storyline you could ever ask for in Divine League. And it's just unfolding beautifully right out in front of us. Yes, Soulbound was taken to 4 games today. They had some games that they looked iffy on, but they ended up pulling out the grit, pulling out the want, and getting back to the finals. It's a clash of titans here.
I couldn't have said it myself better, Lemons. Like, these two teams that are going to be in finals, they already faced each other once, and it was a very bloody series. Like, it went to all 5 games, and Oasis Revenant were only barely able to scuff out a win overall there. And now we're going to see that again next week, Lemons. Like,
we are.
This is going to be so hype.
I am so excited. I did want to say we've been talking about the games. We've talked about the tournament in general. If you want to sign up, if you want to be a part of this and mark your name down potentially in the history books of the Divine League, go sign up. We have the command ! Divine to show you all of the application information. You can go there, sign up, get some more information about it, because we'd love to see you here. I know I would love to cast over you. So hopefully you will, but definitely go check that out as signups are live now. But that is going to be it from us here, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure as we've had Lemons and Gofrino again on the desk, but always. Hey, you calm down. You always
save them for last.
You always cut, because you have to. The best part for last. It's all about dessert. It's been a thing since the start of time. Okay, Gofrino. Mowgli behind the desk, pushing the buttons, being the best producer that we know his little cat self can be. Thank you for always being there for us. And it is always such a pleasure to cast and be a part of this production with you two guys. So thank you again. And thank you to Risen. Thank you to the community for being out here for this game. It has been the Divine League Losers Bracket Finals with Soulbound Mirage pulling out a 3-1 win over Honeyfruit Gaming. And we'll see you next time on Summoner's Rift.